All right, hello YouTube. Welcome to episode book club number 39 for Wizard and Glass. What do we decide? 41 is the end, 41, 42, something like
think
that.
so.
We're getting very, very close here. I guess it is May. So yeah, June, July, because August is when we start. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't it? I couldn't remember if it was August or September. I knew it was one of those two.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and dive on into our 39th book club. We're about to hit our. We've been hitting all-time highs with every episode here.
Yeah,
But hitting 40, that's a mark
milestone.
there. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
milestone. Although I know we're gonna blow that out of the water come book 7.
Yes, probably.
60 or so, probably.
Oof,
That's a big book, man.
it's a very big book.
It is a tome, indeed. All right, let's hit the intro.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower came.
We are ka-tet, one from many. Let the palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast all about Stephen King's magnum opus, Dark Tower series, but we do extend into the other Dark Tower or into the other Stephen King worlds, but not in this episode. This episode we're only doing I guess the tail end of Wizard and Glass, but my name is Tad,
And I'm Peter.
and I'm throwing Peter off here just on purpose. Why not?
What are we doing here? What is this? Your first time recording? What are we doing?
No, I always gotta throw some curveballs at you every so often to make
No,
sure
fastballs only.
make sure that you're awake here. So, welcome to number 39 for Wizard and Glass. This would be the third to last episode
Yes.
of Wizard and Glass. So, we're fast approaching. We're here on Memorial Day weekend for the folks listening in the near or in the far future, maybe even the far flung future,
Yeah.
or even a week or so from now. If that's where we're recording now. So let's go ahead and dive on into the introduction stuff real quick, and then we'll go and get jumping into the text here. So first of all, there's no spoiler warning. We do have a spoiler section at the end of these book club episodes, but it's at the very, very end. Most of this episode, 99% of the episode, is where we're at or before. We don't jump ahead. So if you haven't finished the entire series, this is a safe spot for you to listen, and you will be warned both visually and audibly about the spoiler section before we get into it, so you won't be accidentally falling into it. So next up, if you want to find us, you can find us on Apple Podcasting. You can stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or any podcasting service of your choice. If you want to subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those services, we'd appreciate that. And then on the YouTube side, if you want to join us here live, you can do that every other week here on YouTube at youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. You could join us for the live streams, be part of the conversation. You can watch old live streams. They're going back quite a ways now. I believe, I don't remember how far back, but every time I'm always like, we've been doing this for a couple of years. I think we've now been well past the point of we've done more of these on YouTube than not.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
So it's been a while on YouTube, so you could go back and watch all the old stuff. And then if you want to of course, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Otherwise, Oz the Great and Powerful will destroy us all. And he'll get lightning teeth somehow. I just know it. So maybe don't like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications.
You knock that off.
Or if you don't do that, Peter will be attacked by a Billy Bumbler.
Billy Bumber would never attack me.
That's what they all say, sir.
They only attack evil.
So Jake's evil.
He never attacked Jake. Get out of here.
Read it here hear it here first. Peter said Jake is evil. That's the headline. The spinning newspaper. Peter says Jake is evil.
Old timey news.
Oh, now that'd be a good use for AI. Is create a thing that you could type in the headline and it just does the spinning newspaper. I love old timey stuff. It always makes me laugh. Then if you want to find the show notes, you can do that at darktowerpalaver.com. There's no show notes for this episode because we don't really do show notes for the book clubs, but you can find all the old show notes over there, as well as it's the hub for all things Dark Tower Palaver. All the links pretty much that exist for Dark Tower Palaver should be found over there. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. With Patreon at every level of support, you get access to our Discord server, so you can chat with us 24/7. Sometimes we even get into tangents on there. Even we had some Harry Potter discussions earlier in the week, as well as we also get access to. I'm sorry, what did I say? I said the Discord, as well as the monthly hangouts, which we actually were late on the monthly hangout this month. We did it yesterday. That'll get posted the same time I post these episodes. We watched Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Always fun to get some werewolves in our lives.
No.
Not to mention Gary Busey.
That
Extended scenes of Gary Busey and a werewolf. I don't know what's more scary.
Gary Busey pre-accident.
And then if you're at the highest level of support at Patreon, you can actually co-host a show with us. And then if you want to contact the show, Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
Best way to reach us is through email. It's show@darktowerpalaver.com. You can also find us on our social medias. We got Threads and Instagram. It's Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. And then on Blue Sky, it's at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then our Twitter is at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. And then we have facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And then we also have merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/darktowerpalaver. Go pick yourself up a hashtag Tad is Terrible sticker, shirt, fanny pack,
Lies and deception.
pillow,
Lies and deception.
button.
Also, I have to point out, I've shared it on our Instagram before, but I last week was picking up a pizza at a local pizza place, and they still have the turtle there.
Oh, yeah.
So they have the turtle.
Years ago we saw that,
drawn
yeah.
up on the wall, and then they have the entire turtle. What'd you call that? Not really a poem,
That's a poem.
is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like
Behold
a
the
poem.
turtle of enormous girth. On his shell he holds the earth.
Yeah, I don't know why that doesn't feel like a poem to me. Either way, whatever it is, it's still up there. Of course, that's the first thing I did as I even zipped past the counter where I had to go to pick up the pizza, but I went straight to the wall to see if it was still there. I mean, I assumed it would be, but you never know. Sometimes things can get, scribbled over or whatever else. So that's always fun. Whatever Dark Tower fan in Utah put that up at the Pie Pizzeria in Midvale. Hats off to you, or non-hats off to you if we have hats or not. Just depends on
How to watch.
Yeah, it just depends on when. I just saw a post on social media about that. Somebody asking like, what kind of hat do you picture Roland in? And then I pointed out, I'm like, yeah, the hats comes and goes. So I don't know. I think somebody started pointing out that in book 4, it describes Roland's hat being like flat top, kind of man with no name-ish. And I was like, yeah, but I don't think you could really apply that to future Roland, because I feel like that hat would have been lost, very shortly after this story. Well before you get to the present day stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So, jumping on over then. So we are in Wizard and Glass. We are in the final chapter, I suppose. Part is what it was. So part 4, which is not I knew chapter wasn't right. So part 4, the final of the we have 4 parts in this book. We're on the last one, which is All God's Children Got Shoes. We are currently in chapter. Wait, is that right? I thought we were in chapter. Let's see. Oh, yeah, yes. It's chapter 2, Shoes in the Road, but we will be crossing over in this episode.
Yes,
we
chapter
do.
3, The Wizard.
We do move over to chapter 3 in this. That's right.
Yeah.
And then at the end of this, we clear all of chapter 3, and so next week next episode next month we're gonna be getting into the another chapter. So that it always makes me happy when an episode ends and we get to our percentage and I skip the next page over and it's a new chapter. It always just makes me feel good. Feels all nice. Now, of course, we're splitting a chapter here, so we do lose some of that here. This is both annoying and not annoying because we
Yeah.
because if there was part of me, if I would have looked last time, I don't know if we would have had time, but I certainly would have tried to jam that last subchapter in to get to round it out here. But let's go ahead and jump in. That's where we're at. We are currently in Topeka, going up the interstate, turnpiking, and we have now reached the the Emerald Palace in the middle of the road. And I haven't been to Topeka, but I'm not sure if that's there in our world.
I don't think so.
Just right in the middle of the fucking interstate.
I could check Google Map.
Yeah, yeah, Peter, that's your homework until before the next book club. You have to go through Topeka, the entirety of Google Maps across whatever interstate that is, and see if anywhere.
It's 70, isn't it?
Is that what it is?
Isn't that what they said?
I forget. King does so many interstates with all the different stories. Not to mention the Stand, which I read every year. So I get them all confused. So, I guess that wouldn't be that bad though, because it's just through Topeka. It's like you're going through the entire state. That'd be a lot worse.
That's where it's like, what the?
Yeah. It's like, hey, AI, look through the entire. No, just kidding. Of course not. So let's go ahead and we're picking up now for Subchapter 5, which is the last subchapter of Chapter 2. So we'll jump in then. They have found where we left off was right not in front of the palace, but not far in away from it. Before they reached it, they reached a number of pairs of shoes, including some for the Billy Bumbler. So and all that, they're all different styles too. Roland's are boots. Jake's got Oxfords. Eddie had like beetle shoes, and then Susanna just has like little caps for her feet.
Cuban heels.
Yeah, and then Oi just has some little booties, although we will find in this section here that his is the closest to Dorothy's in looks.
Yeah.
So that gives you some visual of what old Oi's footwear is looking like here. All right, so let me go ahead and find my spot here. So Subchapter 5. Jumping on in again, this is this chapter, even though we're finishing it up here, is titled Shoes in the Road. So Jake told them all on the count of 3 they had to click their heels together once. They all had their once they had their silly looking ruby shoes on. Eddie's looked especially stupid, and I will say that's King pointing that out, not me. Although I don't know, Roland's has got to look more stupid than that.
No,
ruby cowboy boots. That's gotta look stupid.
I've worn red cowboy boots in Red Dead before.
Ruby though.
I wish they were ruby.
Sparkly.
I wish they were sparkly.
That would look absolutely stupid.
Nah, that's great.
So when Jake clicked the heels of his Oxfords together to demonstrate, the gate shivered like a loose shutter with the wind rattling it. Susanna cried out, and a low chiming came from the Green Palace. Eddie commented that it seemed that will do the trick, then says he won't be singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which was not in his contract. Roland pointed to the gate and said the rainbow is here, which wiped a stupid smile off Eddie's face. And he told Roland he knew, and was a little, he knew, and he was a little scared. Roland said he was too, and noticed Jake was looking a little green around the gills. Susanna told him to go ahead and count before they all lost their nerve. Jake counted them off. They all clicked their heels 3 times in unison. The gate rumbled more violently this time. The colors brightened noticeably on the gate, and the chimes sounded in a high, sweet tone that made Jake shiver, half in pleasure and half in pain. But the gate didn't open. So I one of the things I love, and I don't remember if I even did a note for it here, but just that like there's kind of a fear here to this, and like I don't know, I don't think that we would expect that, like people having watched Wizard of Oz. I mean, I think we talked in previous episodes how there are definitely elements of that story that have scared generations of people, whether it's the trees, the monkeys, there's any number of things, but the Emerald Palace I don't think is ever one that I've heard anybody being scared of. So it almost feels like there's an unnatural fear to this. And even Roland, I mean, going back a long ways, even before the story, Roland spotted this before anyone else saw it, and Roland's been nervous about it pretty much the entirety of this book.
Roland's been nervous since we got off Blaine in Topeka. He's just been.
But remember,
ever since he heard that thinny on top of Blaine, and Eddie's like, catch him, he's gonna fall. Ever since then, Roland's been on edge.
But he noticed this from afar.
He did. You're right.
They asked about it and stuff, and he was just like, he wouldn't say anything about it and stuff. So we have been seeing fear about this all across the way, which is interesting to me because, like, in retrospect, like I don't even think any of them had that much fear about Ludd going into that, and we know how that worked out. I mean, there were some nerves about it because they talked about, can we go around it and stuff, and Roland's like, no, you can't go around stuff.
You can't make detours, so it'll become a habit.
Yeah. So I just remember there being some nerves, and there was like the god drums and stuff, but this level of fear that I feel like we've been seeing and even we're seeing right now, I just don't think, I don't know, it's different. So it's kind of I think it ratchets up the tension a little bit because I don't think we've seen this level. This almost feels like Lord of the Rings-ish, like ring wraith fear to me, that's what it registered to me while I was reading this section for this prep, is like it almost felt supernatural in the sense of like the ring race, the way they drive people nuts in Lord of the Rings.
I think part of it also is what they had to go through to get here. I mean, you had the whole riddle contest with Blaine. You land in Topeka, you think it's your world, but all of a sudden there's the super flu.
Oh, you're right.
And everything like that.
So the trauma of Blaine, the trauma of the super flu.
Then also they have to walk through the thinny.
Yeah.
To get there. So there's
then
a lot more like bad stuff leading up to this palace than there was leading up to Lud, because Lud was just countryside, beautiful, you know,
and Aunt Talitha and those
and
folks,
Talitha, the river crossing.
which is actually good. So, but yeah, you're right. So maybe the exhaustion of all the stress of Blaine, and then like the thinny, then Roland's suddenly wobbly in his feet. The thinny themselves, the story, which is gonna like ultimately, I guess, maybe this is just like rolling with like a number of different punches here.
Yeah,
there's been a lot going, but either way, I don't know. It's just kind of
also lost the beam. That's something that I didn't.
Maybe that's disorienting, actually,
really,
too.
Yeah. It comes up later in our notes and everything like that. They lost the beam, and I'm just like, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. I think that is announced before Roland's story, even.
Yeah.
They're like, look up, the beam's gone. And it's just like, if that's like their sole thing and everything like that, they're just discombobulated. They're all over the place. And then you come across something like this that's their world. It's a version of their world, and then to have this thrown across,
and then the Captain Tripp stuff I didn't overlook. You mentioned it, but when I was going through and relisting it, I did forget to mention that, because that would throw the New Yorkers through a loop,
especially Eddie, because supposedly it happened the year before he left.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, Eddie, you would have known about this, and he's like, no.
It's like, Eddie, how high were you? So I'm glad King is calling out how silly these shoes look, because when they're on screen, it's going to be way worse than any of us are actually picturing. Just because, like, if you actually do, like, the full-on ruby slippers, like, in the Wizard of Oz movie, and you actually, like, throw light on them the way they do in that movie, and those shoes almost glow.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like when you have that level of stuff with, like, again, with the different types of shoes they have here, it is going to look really silly. Which is fine, but that's supposed to. But I'm glad that King actually calls it out here, because I almost think that that's going to help, like, Flanagan's, like, costume designer be able to, like, lean into it a little bit. Because if King didn't have that line there, you might be trying to actually make it, like, kind of not weird or ugly or whatever. You might be trying to make it, like, appealing.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad King had that line, because that's going to basically grant the costume designer where it's like, no, man, you are embracing this here. This is going to not look good. So I do like that.
My note here actually is like kind of like along the lines of what you just brought up. Jake looking a little green around the gills. What is getting to him? But I guess we kind of just covered all that.
Yeah, Baraki, also rabid Billy Bumblers.
Did you stop that?
Attacking boys on bridges.
No.
Yeah, that I mean goes back, because honestly too, you actually do have to go look before even Blaine. Like, Lud was not a walk in the park either. So it's like
Jake was tortured basically when you look at it.
Yeah,
you know?
Ever since we left Aunt Talitha, I mean, I guess that field that we're talking about moved between Aunt Talitha, which I always picture like Pelennor Field, like this broad, wide open thing until you're getting to Lud. But it's that's probably the last time we've actually had like a normal. Pretty much since we reached the bridge, it's pretty much been like a fucking white knuckle.
Yeah, because like even like the trip from River Crossing to the bridge at Lud. You have the deformed bees, which sets everyone just kind of like on edge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Roland drops the truth bomb on them that, hey, by the way, we're getting fucking followed.
Yeah.
Like, people are looking at us and stuff, like, not followed, but people are watching us, and it's like, that can't feel good. You got the God drums then started up. You brought that up. That's an uneasy feeling. And then you have also Eddie is just like this hopeful, optimistic about the elves and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, these are going to be the helpful elves from Rivendell and da-da-da-da. And it's just like, dude, you got to be realistic about this, man. You got to know that there could be a problem.
Yeah.
And we're going to need you to help deal with it.
And you know, Eddie was hoping for some fried chicken too, and he's seeing that skyline looking very New Yorkish.
He's like, but God, they better be a KFC.
Yeah, you know he was looking for that too. So yeah, even if you rewind it back further, this has been quite a stretch. I mean, you might argue that Roland telling the story is hard on him, but not as hard as on the others. So maybe that's a break for them a little bit. But for us as readers and for Roland, that's a pretty tough.
We've all been there too, where you're sitting there, someone's like, "Hey, Ted, I got to talk to you. I did something really bad. I got to tell you what it is." And you're just like sitting there, like, "Fuck, okay, what is it? Tell me." You're like on the edge, waiting for that person to tell you. And they're like,
"I bought you a penguin.
I cheated on my taxes." You're like, "What the fuck? I don't give a shit." Like, I mean, that's not what Roland did, but
yeah,
but. Again, we talked about this either last episode or the episode before. Eddie was like, "That's it? Like, come on, Roland. You had us like tensed up, and when you tense up for so long, eventually you're gonna be like, ow.
Yeah.
And so I think that was part of it too for Eddie, Jake, and Susanna, is that they were just like waiting for that shoe to drop on them for what Roland did. And they're like, oh, well, something bad happened. Absolutely. That was tragic, what happened to Susan. But Roland didn't start the fire. Roland didn't put her up there. Like that's what we were kind of expecting. So
yeah.
So
that's what I was expecting too, actually. Like I honest to God, going into it the first time, I thought it was going to be. I mean, I'm not going to say it was like completely innocent because there's still some stuff there, but ultimately, like I think I was expecting like Allie level, like Jake level. You know what I mean? Just everything we had seen from Roland up to that point. Like there's a lot you could be bracing for. Where it's like, how bad is this going to be?
We kind of talked about this. Is like Roland gets kind of a bad rap. Like he's constantly betraying those and killing people like Susan and Jake, and it's like. Well, wait a minute, hold on.
Or if he killed Cuthbert, that would have been.
Yeah,
that would have been.
But he didn't. Like that's what I'm saying. It's just like they were waiting on edge for that, and then when that doesn't come, it's kind of like so maybe that's what and then you just got this thing from a story that they all know.
Yeah,
just in the middle of their path.
It's got to be surreal.
Right.
That's does have to be surreal. But again, though, I don't think this element of what we're seeing has ever been something that I've heard anyone say what they were scared of. There's been a lot of different aspects of the Wizard of Oz that scare people, but the Emerald Palace I don't think has ever been one. I do remember being a very, very little child, and I loved that like discolored zebra. Do you remember that in the? Right when they walk into the Emerald Palace, you see like a cart go by, and it's like is a zebra or a horse? It's like a bright pastel. They probably had some carcinogenic paint they put on this animal, but it was quite striking looking.
It's like orange and white, orangish.
Is it striped?
Dude, it looks like a fucking creamsicle. Is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's quite.
Wait, that one's purple. I'm just pulling up Google Images here, so.
Yeah, I remember being a very, very young child.
Oh, dude, does it change color? Is that what it is?
Maybe it is. I just remember like always locking onto that. And I'm talking like pre kindergarten level, like young. So, yeah. There's a lot I don't remember about it though. Even later, I think I have some questions on if you remember anything about Wizard of Oz, because there's a few things in here I'm like, was this from the story? And then my next note, well, the gate is shaking. That's a good sign they're on the right path at least. Like,
yeah,
Jake just tapping his heels once to show them what they're doing. It gives you a response, right? It's like in a video game when you have some kind of feedback. Even if it's not the right thing, it at least tells you like, okay, I'm at least on the right path. Like this door is jiggling at least. So I probably just need to figure something out to make it actually open the rest of the way. Then my last note before moving on here, Roland is scared, and that is never good.
No.
Because the rest of them have been scared at various times in this story, but Roland's been a pretty good stone when it comes to a lot of times just being like, whatever, very matter of fact, very utilitarian. He lives in this world, right? And we've seen him scared a couple times. But not often. It's not very common.
And it's actually been only really like the worst ones have been happening in this book. So like I would say the worst we've ever seen Roland scared is when he's like about to start the story. And that last day when they're walking and Roland's like, I'll tell you the story, but not now.
Yeah.
From Topeka as they're walking out of Topeka. I think that's where Roland is like the most scared.
Yeah.
And
because the insanity I wouldn't count as fear.
I don't think that's
yeah, that's not fear.
No, that's
different.
Yeah. And so I think that's where he's the most scared. And dude, it freaked them out. They were just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Agamorphy says the horse of different color. I was informed that they did not use paint. Yes, it changed the colors throughout the jump cuts. So, again, I don't remember that detail. I just remember that was like the thing I always locked onto when I was watching the movie.
I pulled up a clip on YouTube and I was watching it, and it purple, then it went red, then it went orange, then it went whitish orange. So it's like there's like
I wonder how they did it.
Rainbow.
They didn't paint it. That whole movie is just so like terrible. Like the what is it, arsenic? Like the field of, is it cotton or something, or is it supposed to be snow? Like that was carcinogenic.
Oh, was
the
it really?
paint on the Tin Man was carcinogenic. Like the whole movie was just like, let's see how many people we can kill. Seemingly, now they didn't know that this shit was poisonous.
Yeah.
But that's why I was just like, I'm just assuming they just dunked this horse in like some god awful fucking paint or whatever. But
the snow was asbestos.
Asbestos. Yeah. What did I say?
Cotton.
No, I said arsenic.
Arsenic.
I said the wrong thing. Asbestos. Yeah. One poison to another. Yes, exactly. So, going on here, Eddie began to speak, but Jake cut him off, saying he knows what went wrong. They forgot oi. Eddie bemoaned that he left his life to watch a kid trying to put booties on a fucked up weasel and told Roland to shoot him before he breeds. And I just had to pause. Oh, Eddie.
Yeah. Never change.
Also, fucked up weasel.
Fucked up weasel.
So I'm surprised Jake didn't get a... Well, I guess it's thinking it, not really saying it.
Yeah.
Or wait, no, maybe
He says it.
Yeah, I know he did bemoan. He said it. I'm actually surprised. Jake's probably pretty locked onto what he's doing. Otherwise, I think he would have said something there. But
Shut up, Eddie.
yeah. Roland ignored Eddie as he watched Jake closely as he sat down on the turnpike and called Oi over to him. The bumbler came willingly, and while he had been a wild animal when they first encountered him, he now let Jake slip on the little red booties onto his paws without issue. In fact, when he got the idea, he actively stepped into the second two. When the 4 booties that looked the closest to Dorothy's, in fact, were on, Oi sniffed one of them and then looked obedient to Jake. Jake tapped his heels to show Oi and ignored the rattle of the gate and the chime of the palace. He told Oi to do it. Oi rolled over like a dog playing dead and looked at his feet with bewilderment. Jake had a memory of his dad having him try to pat his stomach and rub his head at the same time, and then making fun of him when he couldn't do it. I think that's kind of a new wrinkle to Jake's dad, too.
Yeah.
Like, Jake's dad always felt very distant and stuff, but, like, I'm guessing, in my mind, I almost picture, like, he heard about this or learned it and then went home and immediately tried it on Jake and then made fun of it. Like, I don't know, do you see that as, like, a mean making fun of him, or do you think it's just more of, like, the dad,
I think the laughing at him,
making fun of him when he couldn't get it right?
Yeah, making fun of him when he couldn't get it right. If he has a chuckle that Jake struggled to get it right, that's just a dad being a dad. Just like watching his kid, like try to climb the stairs while holding 18 things and keep dropping things. You laugh at your kid.
Yeah.
They're comical. They make mistakes,
Unless they're standing up in the dark in the middle of the night in the hallway.
I'm thirsty, father. No. Thirsty for what? We're not going to ask. No.
For the blood of the innocent.
And then their arms go out. They start running at 217.
Yeah, pretty much.
No. But when you're making fun of your child, especially making fun of him to his face.
Yeah.
Like, let's be perfectly honest. A parent goes, you fucking idiot. You feel like a piece of shit when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Also, the patting the head and rubbing the tummy thing. How old? Jake? 4, 5, 3?
Could be pretty young, yeah.
Imagine your father just laughing and pointing at you and making fun of you and calling you a dipshit and stuff like that when you're trying something and you're small. I don't picture 10-year-old Jake doing this.
Yeah.
So.
I also love that it says that when he couldn't do it right away. So that, I think that would imply that Jake finally figures it out at a certain point.
That's definitely also his dad, right? Like, if you're not a perfectionist and right the first time, the instant you try it and everything like that.
So you take it more negative.
More maliciously, yeah.
Okay. But I do think that does add a new wrinkle to his dad, though.
We also know his dad.
Because his dad's been very distant and disconnected. So, like, this... It's not good, but it is a new wrinkle on his dad, right? Because now his dad is actually, like, coming home to show his kid this, like, whatever. And maybe it is just for the sake of, like, having a laugh at his son's expense. But it's like, it is a new wrinkle versus just being the dad that works 70 hours a week and you rarely see him.
They do mention, like, that they have gone on, like, vacations and stuff like that together. So it's not like he's gone 365 days a year. He's just gone 330 days a year.
Yeah, Greta's doing more to parent him than either of his parents.
This is one of those rare instances where 100% I'd put my entire life savings and everything that I own and everything on that they have never played a single game of catch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say living in a high-rise apartment means you're not, playing catch or having a catch, as they would say in their region.
Having a catch.
But yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think that's in the cards there.
No.
So Jake asks Roland to help him. Oi knew what to do, but he doesn't know how. He then looked at Eddie and told him no smart remarks. And Eddie agreed, no smart remarks. I just love that he calls him out immediately.
Just like instantly, like, you shut your mouth.
He just sees it coming.
The best part is that you're that person in our friend group. Literally, we have a perfect example of that. Is where we just had a get together with all of our friends last weekend, and when the invitations went out, they're like, "No, Tad, don't bring anything like from the occult. Don't bring a Ouija board or anything." They instantly call you out. They're like, "No, Tad."
One of these days. One of these days.
No, that will never happen.
And I'll get one off Etsy too, so it actually looks like something you bought from like the old man in Gremlins.
Oh,
Like I want one that looks like, I don't want like one that looks like I just went to fucking Walmart and picked it up, because that's just not scary. But if it looks like one that looked like it's made out of the bones of like, 20 dead people that have died over the course of the last
Good
300
Lord.
years, like I'm talking ancient, so therefore it's not creepy anymore because it's old, right?
No, that makes it worse. Have you heard of the mummy's curse?
Or like Jumanji. That's how I always picture. I
Yeah.
want a Ouija board that looks like Jumanji does in the original
Okay.
movie. That's what I want, because I feel like there's more like legitimacy to that versus
Yeah.
just like some cheap thing that was printed in China and sold at Walmart for
that looks
$300
that looks like
markup.
Monopoly, right?
Yeah, exactly. That just doesn't seem scary.
Brocky says they use dry powder gelatin, basically Jello, to color the horses without dyeing it. The horse tended to lick it off, so they had to be quick about filming it. I love finding out things like that.
Yeah, no, and that's that's good. That's a pre-World War II movie, so
Yeah.
that's a whole different era of filmmaking.
Wait a minute. Isn't gelatin made with?
Cow, I think usually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait,
No, horses are glue.
glue, right?
Yeah. But I think they usually use cows, like blubber, like the fat on cows is used to like they emulsify it, turn it into a powder, then you basically remake it goo. So,
Fish byproduct. Okay.
yeah.
Cows and pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's because I don't think horses have enough blubber to do too much Jello. So now
I was just like, for half a second, I was like, they're putting something made with horse on top of horse, and then they're looking it up. That nope. Okay, we're
it's
good.
like years. This is probably 20 years ago. I heard a comedian like on the radio that talked about going to like a diner and they had like a chicken, some sort of chicken thing for breakfast, like some sort of like deep fried chicken, but then they like threw some eggs on it.
chicken fried steak.
No, because that's
No,
not
oh, no,
chicken.
that's actually not chicken. Yeah.
yeah.
That blows my mind still. I still can't remember.
I learned that,
It's literally called chicken fried steak, but it's not
But
chicken.
it's steak fried like a chicken would be fried. But he basically just said like, yeah, he's like, then you like throw 3 eggs on top of it. He's like, this isn't a meal, this is a vendetta. It's like you killed the chicken, now you're putting its embryos
Well,
on top of it.
that's what fried chicken is. Because how you make fried chicken is you put the flour and the breading. You put eggs in that. So you take a chicken that's dead, bathe it in its unborn, and then cook it, and then eat it.
Well, it's their fault for being so tasty.
I know, right?
Then asked if just Oi had to do it or if it had to be a group effort. So that's Eddie's response after saying nope, no smart remarks. Which I do feel like that's just a rebound there. Eddie had something in the chamber he was going to throw
dude,
out there.
He had just loaded his howitzer and was like, I'm ready.
Exactly. And then like I think Jake really threw him off his game. So then he's just like asking a dumb question that really like I don't even know if it bared asking.
Yeah.
Jake says he thinks Oi only. Susanna said it wouldn't hurt them all to click along with Mitch. Eddie asked Mitch who, and Susanna told him never mind and told Jake and Roland to give them a count again. So I remember thinking Oi would fight the shoes. I've never encountered a dog that likes things on their feet.
No.
Never once in my
the
life.
videos are some of the funniest where they're like doing like the high step trying to flip them off and everything like that. Just
Yeah.
like,
I have seen
hilarious.
one dog with booties that wasn't walking like a fucking insane animal. One time in my life.
I have
One
seen
time.
videos of dogs that have gotten used to them. Mainly the ones that I found are ones that go out hiking in like St. George down south of us.
Yeah.
You can't have your dog out walking on the pavement.
Yeah.
It's 105 degrees.
You can't even
outside.
do
You're
that. You can't do that here.
Gonna, yeah, you're gonna burn their little posies. And
Yeah, I've
everything
always
like
been
that,
told
so-
if you're gonna go on a walk with your dog, do it barefoot. If you wouldn't do it barefoot, then you shouldn't take your dog.
Exactly, because that's their bottom of their paws and everything
Yeah.
like that. So I have seen that where like people have gone hiking and stuff like that, and they have their dogs wearing like little booties, and they've gotten used to it. But it's always like the outdoorsy kind of dogs and stuff like that. But then I see like hunters that are taking their dogs in like the snow and stuff like that, and they're just like, yeah, fuck this dog, he's good.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So yeah, I was just expecting Oi to fight it. Maybe bite Jake again.
The slander for Oi is just ungodly high.
I don't think it's slander.
I'm gonna need you to take about 40% off, Tad. Just 40%.
I don't think
off.
it's slander.
It is too.
All those teeth marks are probably still on Jake's hands.
Oh, you get out of here. My note worked in with yours, so we're good. You're good to go to your next one.
And then my next note, I don't know why they thought Oi would be able to do it on his own. The way 4-legged creatures are set up, it's not going to be possible. Like
Yeah,
what they're
if
asking.
he has to do one, he could like sit and like clap his front paws
Maybe,
together.
but
he's not going to be able to do all four at the same time.
no, there's
That is not something that he is going to be able to like figure out in his brain and be like, wait, how do I do this?
Yeah, exactly. I love Jake cutting Eddie off at the pass. You know full well a comment he had it just ready to go and he was cut off there. Also, and I think Baraki's mentioning in the chat though. So I did end up looking up the whole click along with Mitch. So there was actually right about the time that Susanna was pulled, there was a very popular show. It was like a sing along. It was Sing Along with Mitch.
Oh, okay.
And it was a popular show on television. And yeah, I want to say if I remember looking it up at some point, because I feel like this came up on like social media not that long ago, like
really?
Reddit or something, and I ended up looking it up because I was like, I have no idea what that is a reference to, and it was like somebody was overseas and they're just like, is this like an American thing? I don't get it. So I looked it up and like I want to say there was like some innovation that like it was kind of ahead of its time in some ways or whatever. So yeah, and then I think
Mitch Marner, band leader 30s to 69, TV show was Sing Along with Mitch.
Yeah.
Oh, 60s.
Yeah.
60s to 69s, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's and I always love that kind of stuff when King throws that in, because I think he's done a really good job of Susanna's references are very of the time that she would have been.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a very hot show, like literally right when she was pulled. So
Yeah.
Gotta love that. Eddie grabbed Oi's front paws and Roland grabbed his rear paws. Oi looked nervous at this as if he expected to be swung into the air and tossed, but he did not resist. Jake counted to 3, and he and Roland brought all 3 of Oi's feet together in unison at the same time. They all clicked the heels of their own feet at the same time. This time, the harmonics was a deep bong like a church bell instead of a high chime that they had heard previously. The Black Gates bars didn't open, but shattered, spraying fragments all over. Oi sprang out of Roland and Jake's hands and trotted away, turning his ears down as he looked at the gate. Roland led them all as he pushed the gate open. He said, let's see what the Wizard of Oz has to say for himself. Eddie chimed in that if he was still there, which thanks, Eddie, for the happy thought. It might just be empty here. Their reflections on the high polished ground connected them like a conjoined twins. Oi stopped momentarily to sniff his own reflection and then barked Oi at his own reflection and then ran to catch up with Jake. And that's the end of the chapter there. So, yeah, I always love that shot. You'll see that in movies at times where they have like a very, very high polished floor and it literally looks like just a mirror finish.
Yeah.
Like, Marvel just did that in the last decade or so, I thought. Because there was a shot where you thought you were looking at the real people, then it like panned up and it was like, I think it's Guardians. Or no, Thor, I think. It's the Ian Malcolm's character. Jeff Goldblum, I want to say.
Oh, Ragnarok.
I want to say it's when they're going into his area, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
So that because you think you're following behind like the 3 characters or whatever, and then it like pans up and it turns out it's the reflection of the floor. So
yeah,
I always love that. It's just a cool image. So notice did you notice the mistake here? It says Eddie grabbed his paws, which makes no sense at all. That Jake would because it's Jake and Roland, but there it said Eddie and Roland.
I saw when I went through your sections, I saw your note and I was like, wait, what? And I literally pulled my Kindle back up to look at it and I'm like, Eddie and Roland grabbed his paws. And then Jake and Roland hey, he's right.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Never noticed that before.
No, me either.
But yeah, definitely a mistake in the book here. And it's in the Kindle version at least. I haven't necessarily looked at a hard copy, or the audio book. But next time I listen now, I'm going to be keeping my ears, my ears sharp for that to see if it is like a Stephen King mistake there. Because like again, why the hell?
Your hard copy around here? He's digging for our audio listeners. It's too heavy for him.
Jesus Christ.
Nope, he's okay. It won't come out. Here, go through your notes. I'll look. It fell.
There it goes. All right. So yeah. So I never noticed that. So always nervous about the heave ho makes sense. He's being held like in the proper fashion to be hurled a long way.
Yeah, by the 4 paws. 1, 2, 3.
One only has to be a small child once in life to have encountered that once when you're being grabbed by
have
the
you
hands
ever been
and
thrown
legs.
but like that into the pool?
Into like a lake or a
into
pool.
like a pool or a lake. Yeah, exactly. My note here, a lot of faith was put into Roland by Oi. I would expect him to trust Jake, but Roland is a development. I don't think that he ever really like shown that he is like that trusting of Roland. So
Yeah, no, and I think, and that's where I was just like, that's why it doesn't make sense, because it's like if it were Roland and Eddie, there's no way.
no,
Oi doesn't allow it.
he's like, no, thank you. I'm good with that. Do you want me to read your note, or do you just want to?
Yeah. So I'm almost which subchapter are we in right now? I found the
are
section here.
Subchapter 2.
This is quite a ways deeper in the book than I expected it to be.
Hold that up to the camera. Look at that. Look how little is left.
Yeah, there's not much left here.
No.
I cut in a certain ways, just thinking, oh, we still have some space, and it's still like, Roland sees the smoke cloud rising, and I'm like,
Wait,
whoa, no,
we're still in Magus?
that was a while ago. So subchapter 2, to Curl's spirit. What's going on here? Let's see. So, what did you? Oh, you put his fate there. So this is going to work well on screen. Having the chimes go when it fails versus the bong when it succeeds.
Yeah.
I think that's just going to be a very satisfying and very anyone's going to understand what's going on there. So
Yeah.
let's
And
see.
then your last note, and I'll go into subchapter 1.
Yeah. So and then we're off to see the wizard.
Yeah. And
And
then
I'm not going to sing it though. It's not in the contract.
we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. So that brings us to the end of chapter 2. So now we're going into chapter 3, which is titled The Wizard, and subchapter 1. So Roland stopped at the sentry box, glanced in, and picked up what was laying on the floor. It was a newspaper with the name, and this is a direct quote from the book, and I do apologize, but I had to get all of this. The Oz Daily Buzz, volume MDLXV1III, number 96. Daily Buzz, Daily Buzz. Handsome is IZ, as handsome does DUZZ. Weather, here today, gone tomorrow. Lucky numbers, none. Prognosis, bad. And then the next page was just blah 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 yak 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 blah blah. Good is bad, bad is good. All the stuff's the same. Good is bad, bad is good. All the stuff's the same. Go slow past the drawers. All the stuff's the same. Blah 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 blah. Bane is a pain. All the stuff's the same. Yak
You mean
yak
Blaine,
yak yak.
not Bane.
Yeah, Blaine. I may have Batman on the brain. Sorry.
I mean, he is a pain to Batman.
He is true. Right in the back. Yak, 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 yak. Ch3, all the stuff's the same. Blah, yak, blah, blah, yak, yak, blah, 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 yak, yak, yak. Baked turkey, cooked goose. All the stuff's the same. Blah, blah, yak, yak. Ride a train, die in pain. All the stuff's the same. Blah, 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 blah. Blame, 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 blame. Blah, 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 yak, yak. Blah, 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 blah. Related story, page 6.
Also, hard copy confirmed. So, like, again,
Okay.
I think the only thing I've yet to find anything that's different from these hard copies from the Kindle. So I do think the Kindle is legit, or this is like a new publishing that matches the Kindle, and I don't know if like an earlier version,
Like my older,
Like if there's-
one with like the pictures and stuff like
yeah,
that.
because there's been some typos we found previously that I've checked Kindle against this, and it's always been the same. So I do think I would confidently say that these match the Kindles across the board. When this is just like the collector's set thing, but
all 8 of them.
but I don't
right?
think that speaks all the way to all of King's writing, because I don't know, because I've seen mistakes or changes be made in some of the stuff with different publications, where like a typo will get in where it like you end up finding it wasn't in the original or whatever. So I don't know, but as of right now, I have a hard copy of a Kindle. The question will be, is the audiobooks? If the audiobook's there, then I think it's 100% solid that that's just the way it's always been. King just made a mistake, and somehow the editors overlooked it.
Yep. So below that story, below that was a picture of the ka-tet as they crossed the mirrored courtyard, like it had happened the day before, not minutes ago. Beneath the picture was the caption, a quote from the book: "Tragedy in Oz. Travelers arrive seeking fame and fortune, find death instead." And the quote. Eddie says he likes it, adjusting Roland's gun he is wearing. Comfort and encouragement after a day's confusion, like a hot drink on a cold fucking night. Roland says to not be afraid, it is a joke. Eddie says he isn't afraid, and that he lived with Henry Dean for a lot of years, and he knows what it's like looks like to someone trying to psych him out. He looks at Roland and says that you're the one who looks scared. Roland replies simply, "I'm terrified." And that's the end of the subchapter.
That's quite the admission there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Earlier, Agamorphy said St. George is the antechamber of Hades. Sounds about
It's
right.
quite warm down there.
It's pretty much Utah's Florida.
It is.
It's hot. It's full of old people. It's just, yeah, it's. I mean, people like do touristy, like, oh, I'm gonna go down for the weekend or whatever. Like,
Yep.
yeah, I've said that for years. It is Utah's Florida.
I also actually found out recently that there's quite a few families that have summer homes up here and winter homes down there. And I went, it's like 4 hours. Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
really? Like, you couldn't find somewhere like right in the middle?
Yeah. And then Agamorphy says Bob from Sesame Street started his career with Mitch Miller. That's interesting. And then Agamorphy also says, I think I may have a note on this later. Wonder how much Flanagan will be able to get away with Oz's IP. And I do think I have a note on that later. I believe I put a note in for that. So, yeah, we can maybe talk about that in a bit. Yeah. No, you're right though, Brocky. Dry heat, 100%. Because I will tell you, humidity is the fucking devil.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I've gone to like Houston or Florida or Mexico, it's just like I want to die. It's like one of my least favorite things as a child is going to a greenhouse. Going into greenhouses. It's misery. And it's just like that's the way their entire states feels. It's just like, hey, you live in a greenhouse. I'm like,
there's a part of the aquarium that we have here in Utah. We got a pretty good aquarium here that has, it's like the Amazon rainforest is what it's supposed to be. Yeah. It's the worst part of the entire aquarium. I'm just like, I want to get through this as fast as we can. And you have to go upstairs. You have to it's a ramp, but you have to walk inclined up. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. Of all the places to do this, you couldn't do this where it's like cool and chill in some of the other places.
Like
you have to do it in
like the penguin exhibit.
No, that place is evil.
So my note here, a lot of newspapers in this book.
Quite a few.
We've actually had quite a bit of newspapers.
Captain Trips was on the newspaper.
Twice now we've had Captain Trips before and after the story.
Yep.
Now we got another one here. So yeah, a lot of newspaper coverage here.
I think maybe this newspaper is just playing along with the theme.
Could be.
Yeah. That picture would freak me out. Not surprising none of them get freaked out after everything that they've seen, but seeing a picture of like if me and you walked out of your house right now, got in your car and went to go to lunch, we got to lunch and there's literally on the menu a picture of us walking into the restaurant, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah. And I have a slight disagreement. I don't care what you have seen up to this point. There's got to be something really eerie about seeing a picture of yourself from moments ago. And also remember, this book's in the late 90s. Having a picture taken and immediately available is not as common as like today. We're just so used to it. Where it's just like, it's just like, oh yeah, like somebody took a picture of me and it got posted on Facebook and like within a couple seconds you're seeing it. But it's like, but then also let's take it outside of the realm of this is published in 1997, which still I was 13, 14 in that year. Like I remember like even 1 hour photo was expensive back then. So it's like. But there was a turnaround for pictures, but it's like
that was the only way to get pictures was film. There was no like digital.
No digital.
The only thing you had was Polaroid, but even that. Okay, let me show this for 3 minutes.
Which did nothing actually.
Actually,
that didn't actually do anything. But we all did it.
Yeah,
wave the picture around like it would actually.
It's like it's like those games where like if you push A, tap A, you think you're going faster, but it doesn't.
Or the close button on elevators.
Yes,
complete nonsense. Just total. Malarkey. But also when we go beyond the realm of the book though, 87 is the most recent person here. So how much a decade back from what we're talking about when this book's published, let alone like Susanna, like died, like just for all of them, it would be the most surreal thing in the world.
Or Roland. That's probably the first time Roland's ever seen a picture of himself.
Could be. Have we seen anything about cameras and I know we have paintings and stuff like that. We've seen like paintings of like in the Great Hall and stuff, but
I think the only electronics we have is lights and ice makers is the only things they've talked about. Nothing handheld.
Oh, we did have the ice sculpture in Blaine's.
Which
isn't a picture, but it's
we're talking Gilead, not
I know
post-fall and everything like that. So I would say when you look at like what Roland's seen and stuff like that, I don't think there's photography much. So
I would say, and I'm not saying you're wrong in the sense that they have seen a lot of shit, but I do think this should unnerve them because it's just like, what the fuck, man? Like that is some creepy shit. And you and I live in the 21st century here where pictures can be taken and immediately shared. And it's like still, even what you just said, if we went to lunch and, when we sat down, like a picture of us going to lunch was there, like even though we're in a world of like immediate turnaround, like that would still freak us out. So yeah.
Agamorphy says Flagg has a Kinko's nearby to print up these fake newspapers.
You just see him running. Like, oh my god. like Scary Movie is the best.
Yeah.
When they're doing like the disappear gag and
she looks at him, then looks away and he turns and
runs behind
the tree.
It's so funny.
Brocky says, I think he saw himself through someone else's eyes in book 2, right? Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
But that is still different than seeing a physical photo of yourself that when you got to remember, Roland is hundreds
Wait,
of years
there
old.
was pictures explained to Roland because I remember him saying like photographs. He says it weird. Is that in book 2 when he's trying to look at the pictures of the bullets, trying to find his own ammo?
That might be it.
Because like I remember him mispronouncing photographs. So
Yeah.
even that proves it to us right there that
Yeah.
like no, he has no experience with photography. That's not a thing in his world. So because he says it weird. In book 2, there's a lot of
magazines. Yeah.
and magazines. Yeah,
Magazines.
It's another one of those ones. I want to say he's like photographs. He said it in a strange way to where
Yeah.
that would. Sorry, just barely came to mind, but that gives you some textual proof.
Yeah.
That, yeah, there's no photography in Midworld.
You're definitely right that it would be entirely possible that this is throwing them for a loop and King just decided not to throw it there. But it's just like, yeah, we've seen crazier shit than this, like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
fuck this,
I think some video games I've played have done that. Where
you
like
see yourself.
you see images of yourself. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was very surreal.
There was one. It's not a game that I've played, and I don't know what the name of it is. I've seen clips of it, and I'm going to say this out there to the wider internet. If you're a person who's making clips of yourself playing a video game, when you post it, in the first comment, in a pinned comment, or in the description, put the fucking name of the game. Like, it's ridiculous that I don't know what game this is because I've seen like 3 or 4 clips of this. But there's a game where you're walking through like an abandoned factory, and all of a sudden it cuts to like the stalker's point of view for like 10 seconds, and then it comes back like you're in control of your body again. And so you're like, wait, where was that? Like, it was looking at me from above. Wait, what?
Oh.
Like, oh, that
Yeah.
was behind me.
Yeah.
Wait, that's in front of me. So like,
Yeah.
you have to like, it's like its way of saying like, if you go that way, you die.
Yeah.
So kind of thing. So
I remember what it was. It was Wildlands. When you get some of the collectibles, there's a point that you get a picture of you and your squad, like a distant picture of your squad, like moving across like a ravine or something. And it's like, oh, so the cartel at a certain point was like taking pictures of you. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's just surreal and it's eerie because it's just like,
yeah.
and I don't think it was like a real picture. It's like picture they had preloaded in the game probably or whatever. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's silhouettes and stuff, but
It's your character.
It's surreal. Yeah.
It's your character though.
Yeah. 100%. So, did you get your note in there?
Yep.
Okay.
No, that's the end of the subchapter.
Yeah, indeed. We got a couple short ones here. All right. So, the arched entryway made Susanna think of a song that was decades before she was pulled into this world. Green door. But there was actually 2 doors in here instead of the one, and no peephole for an eyeball to look through. Which, yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Imagine just like an eyeball like in the side of the door.
You're speaking Harry Potter to me, sir.
Yeah, it's true. Although that's a trophy of a dead person there.
It is.
So, she bent forward to read the sign hanging from the glass door. The glass door pulls. Bell out of order. Please knock. Roland balled his fist to knock, and Susanna told him to never mind. It was part of the story. Eddie pulled her chair back and stepped in front of it and grabbed the poles. The door opened easily and silently. He cupped his hands over his mouth and shouted, "Hey!" The voice echoed and came back, changed, smaller, and lost as though it were dying. That's a fun turn of phrase there. He then asked if they had to do this. Roland said if they wanted to get back to the beam, he thought they did. Roland looked paler than ever, but led them in. Jake and Eddie lifted Susanna's chairs over the sill. They had only gone 10 paces before the door slammed shut behind them with a boom, and that echoed ahead of them into the Green Palace.
It's always so comforting when a door just slams shut behind you.
Yeah, we're doomed, as 3PO says in Jabba's palace.
Exactly.
That's the end of the subchapter too.
That's it.
Again, it's got some short ones here. You can always tell Susanna's more contemporary memories are definitely coming from King's childhood as well. Like I think she's close
the
to
right
King's
time
age.
frame.
Yeah, because she's an adult, in her 20s in the 60s. It's like I believe that lines up with King's age. So a lot of her memories, be it her contemporary memories or her childhood memories, I think are really like parallel to King's memories. So
yeah.
Because some of this stuff's just so oddly specific. Like nowadays, if a person wrote this book, you'd be like, oh, they're good at Googling to find out, like, what show was really popular in 1961. It's like, oh, Sing Along with Mitch or whatever, like, but like, no, like this didn't exist back then. So King would have had to know this shit to like, so it's just kind of cool.
Or a trip to the old library to figure that out.
But I don't think the library would have had information on stuff like that. Like, what was a popular show in 1961? I loved libraries as a kid, but it's like there was limits to what a library's the menial shit the internet is so good at. that just didn't exist in libraries very
didn't.
much. Like,
You had to do some like deep investigation into finding stuff out. Newspapers, articles, and like using the old slides with like the newspapers.
my second job had one of those.
Did it really?
When I worked in the movie store.
Oh
Yeah, we had a thing, and it had like every movie ever, like, and it would tell you like if it was in print, out of print. And I'm like, that was so anachronistic because it's like this is like 2000. This is like right around 9/11. It's like, why was I using a fucking I forget what you call those things, but it's like it's like cell, like film. Whatever.
Is it cellophane? Is that what it's? No, that's just something.
That's film, but yeah, I forget what those are called, but yeah, it's just very weird. But yeah, indeed.
And then this is where I have my note. I forgot they lost.
Sorry, one more thing. That's what I meant to say. There's one other thing about married, because when I was a kid, I loved Barnes and Noble. But one thing I'll tell you, I was much closer to high school age before I really started to see books like being published about pop culture. Like in my younger days, that just didn't exist.
Oh yeah,
you didn't see books on like movies of the 1960s. Like those are huge nowadays, and whatever. But it's like when I was like a kid, like I would have been all over books like that. And there's, if there were like 2 or 3 books that existed, period, like Leonard Maltin's 100,001 Movies to See Before You Die may have existed. But it's like I remember around high school, suddenly there was like a full 8-foot section of like pop culture books, but it was all mixed with like movies, television, music, was all just in this one small section, and it wasn't like an entire. I had 2 shelves, not section.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying is like libraries limitations. I feel like there was like this highfalutin element of like, well, TV's not worth writing a book about. Like that's changed obviously, but yeah.
I mean, it's been a part of our culture now for 70 years, so
that's true. It's true. In film for a little over 100 now.
Yeah.
It's early 20s, early 20s is when like the first silent films came out.
Exactly.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was a thing that came into my head before we started talking about those goddamn fucking film things. You always see those in like detective movies and stuff too, where they have to flip through the like every headline.
Like the Ring is one that pops into my head. That's one where she like goes and investigates like the island where like she thinks that the film is the tape is from and everything. She uses that, and I'm just like, what are those things? Like I've never actually seen one. Even at the library, I don't know if they have them anymore because they just have computers, right? So
yeah. Mini microscope. I just googled what film thing you use a machine to zoom in on them because it's just a matter of like you were able to basically store like in like an 8x11, you'd be able to store like thousands of or hundreds of pages on there because they were all shrank down to like small, like an entire page smaller than a stamp. And then you'd use like it was a
microfilm readers or microfiche readers.
Yeah, Brock, you got it too. Microfiche. I think that's what we're talking about. And microfilm was the word I was thinking of. Those, like I said, in the early 2000s, I'm in a video, and why do we even need that? Like, if it's just going to tell me this movie hasn't been in print for 5 or 10 years, whatever, like, what the hell good does that do me to help a customer? Like, I could confirm.
To stop looking,
I guess, but like. And then with the Disney Vault era was back then too, so I always had to like fight with customers about
in
that
the vault.
shit.
It would come out of the vault. It would go back in the vault.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that with Disney Plus. Like pull shit off for like and like create a demand more. I'm glad they're not, but I'm surprised they're not.
Don't give them ideas. If it starts happening now, it's Tad's fault. We got it on video.
Yep. The mouse is always listening.
I come back 3 years from now. See, I told you Disney was going to do this. Tad did this. We come back to this episode, and that part's just cut out. He went and edited it.
It just says Rip Chewy.
You're the worst. But yeah, my note. I mentioned this earlier. I forgot they had lost the path of the beam. They realized that before Roland's story, right?
Yeah, right when they got out of Blaine, I think when they're trying to get their bearings and stuff, it's like
you know, like look up and they're like, oh,
yeah, it's like oh shit, and then from there is when they start to explore a little bit and start seeing like the Captain Trips headlines and stuff like that, and the fact they're in Topeka, the Topeka newspaper, exactly, 100%. Yes. Let's see. This would be cool. So cool on screen. Literally recreate the Oz scene. But set and played for horror. Yeah. Because I really think Flanagan's got to do that. With as much fear as we have from these characters here, you can't play this straight. You can't just recreate these scenes. Like, this has got to be done in a way where it's familiar, but it's, like, creepy. Like, almost like when you have a nightmare, and it's like you might be, like, in your childhood home or something. Yeah. But there's just something different about it, and the whole thing is just dark and sinister or whatever. Like, you almost got to play it like that. I think Flanagan would do a good job.
It's also one of those things, too, that where when you've had that nightmare and you're really freaked out, all of a sudden that coat rack stops looking like a coat rack and it starts looking like a guy standing over there. And Oh, there's a shadow on the wall. Oh, that's just the tree that's always outside that casts that exact shadow every night because of the street light. But still, after a nightmare, it feels different.
Yeah, or when the wind's blowing and this tree starts scratching the outside of your window.
See, that's why you don't allow a tree to touch your window. you trim it.
Nah. It's fun to wake up with the scratching noise at your window.
No.
And then let's see. Brock says I used IMDb for movie info now, but it was better when they had message boards, and you were preaching to the fucking choir, man.
The message boards.
I spent over a decade spending a lot of time on those message boards, man. When they got rid of those, I was bummed.
Yeah.
That was. And I still think that's we nothing's recreated that level of like nerdery. You know, because even like there's Reddit and stuff.
I think the closest you have is Reddit.
But Reddit gets like good specialization. Like there could be a subreddit for every movie in theory. But in my experience, though, there really isn't for a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there were for like some movies, there's just not that much action there. Whereas like we go to the IMDb thing and it's like if there's 20 people that are like highly into that movie, they're going to find themselves in that IMDb message board, and it's going to be a good conversation. Even if it's the same 10 conversations, it's there.
Also, the really nice thing about that was that if you went to a movie that, you know, was really niche and there's not a lot of people who are fans of it, you could start a conversation and people could join in. But with Reddit, you have to create the subreddit, you have to moderate it,
it's
rules.
It's too much work.
It's too much work to start something for a movie that doesn't have as big a following versus IMDb that already had it preset. Here, just come to our boards and use us to talk about it.
And it's already like the touch point for if somebody's going to go check the cast for something, they're checking IMDb.
Exactly.
So, or, you know, wanted to read the trivia or the goofs or whatever the fuck they want to read, and the message board is there at the bottom. So, yeah, I am very sad that isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And then also when Roland is scared, I take notice.
I just have to notate this. That is 3 subchapters now that have mentioned that he is scared.
Yeah.
In a row.
Yeah. So that's fun, isn't it?
I don't know about fun.
I do. Got to get some drama going here.
All right, so subchapter 3. There was no reception room, only a cavernous hallway that seemed to go on forever. The walls were lit with a faint green glow. It was just like the movie Jake Thinks. The one where the cowardly lion got so scared he stepped on his own tail. Eddie spoke up in a trembling but better than passable Bert Lahr imitation. I'm going to quote this, and you are going to forgive me because it has been fucking decades since I've seen Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I haven't watched it with the kid then?
No. Oh, wait a minute, fellas. I was just thinking, I really don't want to see the wizard this much. I better wait for you outside.
That seems passable for my 25, 30-year gap. Probably closer to, probably damn near 40 year. I mean, I know I'm only 41, but like it's probably closer to 40 than 30 the last time I watched it.
I would put it that I was at least junior high last time I saw, or middle school for the rest of the country.
I think it might have actually been
earlier than that for you.
Yeah, I think it might have been elementary.
Yeah, you were moved on to Chucky and Halloween and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and all that stuff.
Yeah, but one thing I'll point out though is I mean, the cowardly lion's a coward, but he was pretty scared there too. So maybe that gives some credit.
Yeah.
That there's a little bit of fear going on in the movie itself.
Yeah.
But again, though, maybe not because it is the cowardly lion. It's not like the rest of them were scared.
They were.
So.
Weren't they?
I don't think so.
When they walked into Oz, they were just like,
until they got into the room and like Oz is there. He's scared the shit out of them.
You're in the hallway you're talking about.
Yeah.
Jake tells him to stop it, and Oi agrees by saying, "Op it." Oi was walking directly at Jake's heel, swinging his head from side to side as he went. Jake could hear no sound except their own passage, yet he sensed something, a sound that wasn't. He thought of looking at a wind chime that wants only the slightest puff of breeze to set it tinkling. Eddie said he is sorry and to look down there, pointing.
Also, Baraki, good point. Roland is more scared to click Oi's heels together. You just never know with a bumbler is going to react.
Stop it. You know what, Baraki? You're going in timeout.
Roland might lose more fingers.
Remember, I could put users in timeout in the chat.
No, because then you nuke their entire...
Do nuke their entire... that's not a bad thing, because then I get rid of all this slander with Oi.
Yeah, Roland's only got a couple fingers left on that one hand there. Last thing we need is him to have just no fingers.
You guys are the worst.
All he has left is a pinky.
Take my strong pinky.
Yep, Roland has become Roland from fucking Schitt's Creek, because that's his name, isn't it? The small hand guy in Schitt's Creek is Roland.
I think so.
I believe so. So I remember the hall being fairly creepy, even in the movies. I don't think in universe, but I remember as a kid there was like an eeriness to it, just because it was kind of just this long cavernous hallway. Like Oz kind of had this like vibrant, almost celebratory, very surreal. But once you got into the hallway, there was just kind of a tone down.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it was creepy. Again, outside the Cowardly Lion, though, I don't think the characters were particularly scared. But I remember as a kid just being like, it's kind of shady.
Unsettling.
Yeah, exactly.
Very unsettling.
So I can only imagine what it'd be like in real life.
Yeah.
That's a question. Why haven't they ever done like a Wizard of Oz like theme park? I mean, at MGM Grand, there was a point in the 90s when I went down there.
Mhm.
The whole MGM Grand was like completely like Oz'd out. Like they had the blimp out front. Like there was whole like scenes set up and shit. But like, I don't know. I feel like Oz would be an interesting theme park because there's a lot with Oz that you could build a theme park out of.
I mean, it's a matter of, do people care?
I mean, if they would have built it back in the era of like Disneyland and shit,
Yeah.
like, and by that point it probably actually would have made Oz more.
I'm
popular.
talking now. Like you build a Wizard of Oz theme park. If you build it, no one will come. I mean, it's Wizard of Oz. I don't think people care. But you're right. If someone built this in the 40s or 50s, 100%, I think people would go.
Yeah, and then it probably the question there is, does it then keep Oz more relevant?
I think it does, and you build that universe,
generational, like experiences and then that just builds like the movies.
I think we end up getting something different for like sequels or expanding the universe and stuff like that, and you build a whole industry off of that.
Yeah,
there's an alternate reality where there is no Disneyland, but there's an Ozland.
Yeah, I just want a Stephen King land.
Me too.
That would be just, and what they need to literally do is build an entire overlook. And it's like, if you want to get a room, you can get a room in the overlook. Because doesn't Disney have like built-in hotels into like Disneyland?
Yeah, they're called Disney resorts.
Yeah, and of course you charge like $10,000 a night for the 217 room. Do 217 and 237. You have both rooms. It's like, which one do you want? But you got to reserve it 3 years in advance if you want that room, and if you're going to have a visitor in your bathroom sometimes.
No.
They just have a fake wall that could just level up, and then the lady comes out.
It's just they just get a cyborg to do it. I mean, a robot.
That's
to
even
do it.
scarier than a real person, though.
I don't know.
Freaking giant, or just this decaying robot person coming at you in the.
If it happens in the future, it'll just be a projection.
Yeah.
They'll have like a projector in the ceiling.
Soon we're just gonna get little tiny drones. They'll do like the drone,
a little drone show
in your bathroom. Miss Massey coming at you all decayed.
That's a terrifying thought, Ted, with drones.
I've thought about getting a drone. The main reason I've never got a drone is just because we have 2 airports in this valley, and you have to be like 3 nautical miles from an airport, and literally that almost means there's almost nowhere in this valley you can play with the drone.
Yeah.
So, and I'm too fucking lazy to drive my ass out of the valley to go play with one. So.
You drive out of the valley. You went yesterday out of the valley.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it just go play with a drone.
No, but you do it while doing that trip.
Nonsense. Yeah.
So my note here, Jake is creeped out, but it also appears that Oi is on edge too. Do you trust the bumbler's instincts?
Oh, Baracky's got a good point though. With the Wicked stuff nowadays, that actually might be a pretty popular theme park.
Oh, it could
Wicked
be.
has brought up a whole new generation on Oz stuff.
It could be, yeah.
And it's probably added more to it. I've only seen the first movie. I haven't seen the second one, but like there's a lot going on there. So, yeah, sorry. So you said creeped out, and Oi's on it. Yeah.
Trust the bumbler's instincts?
Yeah. But then again, Oi is not far removed from being a wild animal. So anything man-made is going to put him on edge, I think, because like this isn't like a dog that's been, in captivity his whole life. Like this was a wild animal probably weeks ago. You know what I mean? And not to mention, he also had the Blaine experience, which, so it's like maybe, he was like somewhat trusting of the people, but then Blaine happened. He's probably now just like, anything man-made.
I mean,
you guys.
still, this is a unique situation. I still think that you would trust his instincts to be on edge,
But he might be on edge overkill, though, just because he is a wild animal.
Doesn't mean that you can't trust him.
Yeah, but you might end up just adding more stress to your life. Just keep your fingers away from the business end of him there.
Oh, you stop it. About 40 yards ahead of them, the green corridor did end in a narrow green doorway of amazing height, perhaps 30 feet from the floor to the pointed tip. Jake could hear a steady thrumming sound coming from it. As they drew closer, the sound grew louder, and with it, Jake's dread grew too. What?
Rocky just put remain silent.
Yeah, you better remain silent. I got this timeout button ready to go for you.
But I could do that to you too, I bet.
That's fine.
or maybe.
I don't know.
With you being a
I'm
moderator,
moderator.
yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that did make me laugh.
As they drew closer to the sound grew louder, and with it, Jake's dread grew too. He had to make a conscious effort to take the last dozen steps to the door. He knew that sound. He knew it from the run he had made with Gasher under Ludd, and the run with his friends made to Blaine the mono. It was a steady beat, beat, beat of slow trans engines. It was like a nightmare, Jake says. We're right back where we started. Roland touches his hair and says, "No, Jake, never think it. What you feel is an illusion. Stand and be true." The sign above the door wasn't from a movie, but Susan recognized it from Dante. "Abandon hope, all ye who enter here," it said. Roland reached out and with his two-fingered right hand pulled open the 30-foot door.
I think I need to do a poster like that of the Dante quote there, but like in like those live, laugh, love, like all those like cheesy, shitty art things that people buy at Target to put up at their house. But they should be it should be that line. Let's see. Have you ever seen those massive doors that some buildings have in Europe? Like ones are, I don't know if they're 30 feet there, but they're probably close to half that.
Yeah.
Like they're like like a lot of them are like from like I think the medieval era and stuff. But they're designed and engineered in a way to where you could still open it with like minimal effort. Like it's not.
Yep.
You're not like having to like be a 600-pound person that has to put your entire weight. You need to get a sumo wrestler.
Like the Lord of the Rings where it takes like 6 people to open the door.
Yeah. No.
7 people to close it.
Yeah. No. I'm always fascinated by that kind of shit.
I think of like cathedrals is like the big one that I think of, like Notre Dame, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. That's what comes to my mind when we're talking about this here.
Yeah. Jake is hanging on by a thread. Roland is scared. Eddie is giving me the vibes that he is creeped out a little, still making jokes though. Interesting. We get nothing for Susanna. We don't know how she's doing. We don't know what she's thinking. Nothing for her so far this episode.
Yeah.
Like one callback to a show and everything like that. But aside from that, nothing for Susanna.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, from the New York side, I think she's lived a much tougher life than the rest of them. Yeah. So, maybe she's just made of tougher stuff in that sense. But it's still
interesting. The king just doesn't even give us that. Like Susanna was calm and ready to, nothing. It's just literally like she's hardly here.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when it comes to Jake, though, he has some PTSD for sure, which is no shade on him. What is he, 12?
Yeah, and after what he went through in Ludd and with Blaine and everything like that.
Yeah, 100%. So, I feel for the kid.
Also, we have to remember, this is something that just dawned on me right this second, is that Blaine, Charlie the Choo-Choo, all that stuff came from his madness era.
Yeah.
Where he thinks that he's going insane. And so to have this stuff still constantly shoved down his throat after he's recovered and after he's had the trauma of Ludd and everything that happened with him being taken by Gasher and running through the city, being rescued by Roland, Oi almost dying right in front of him. He thought Oi was dead.
Attacking him as well.
He just
you can't throw a softball over the middle of the plate that.
You just got to stop. It's not an attack. Jesus Christ.
Oh, good stuff. No, Jake has been through a lot. We all know that King's a monster. So.
He likes torturing this kid.
He really does. So, jumping on to Subchapter 4. What laid beyond it was, to the New Yorkers, a weird combination of the Wizard of Oz and Blaine the Mono. A thick blue rug that was reminiscent of the Barony coach that was on the floor. The chamber was like a cathedral of dizzying height and colored greenish black. That's a fun color. The pillars that supported it were alternating green and pink, and the pinks were the exact shade of Blaine's outer hull. Jake saw the pillars had been carved with a billion different images, none of them comforting. They messed with his eyes. They messed with the eyes and unsettled the heart. They seemed like a multitude of screaming faces. That's a good design. It's
a happy image.
There. Yeah, indeed. In front of them, so big it made them all appear as nothing more than ants, was the only furnishing. A massive green glass throne. Jake tried to compare it to something he knew to give scale to its size, but he couldn't do it. Maybe 50 feet high, but it could also be 100. Which I love that because honestly, like I think we've all experienced that where there's just times like you want to give a number to something, but it's like you're literally just guessing.
Yep.
Like, if you say it's 100, like, okay, it could be 100 people, it could be 200. You never know.
Yeah.
You're literally just guessing. So, it was marked with the symbol of the eye, but traced in red instead of yellow. The light made the eye seem alive, like a beating heart.
Ugh.
That's fun. Circling back to the beginning of the book with some Blaine references.
Yeah.
Some good, just the book's folding in on itself here. So we're getting back to some Barony Coach, some Blaine.
Circle.
Indeed. As old Matthew McConaughey said there in True Detective.
Yep. I love the idea of mixing Blaine and Wizard of Oz, just like those two meshing. And it's not entirely like this is the Barony Coach. It's still like Wizard of Oz-ish, but it has like the Barony rug and the map, and so all this different stuff from Blaine, but in the palace room of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. The pillars carved with a billion faces that were not comforting. Flanagan is going to cook with that kind of stuff. Just a pillar of billion
absolutely.
faces that are all unsettling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll maybe see the bent neck lady hidden in there.
Oh, that'd be fun.
The size and
loving.
yes, indeed. The size and scale of this is hard to wrap my brain around, just because it's just like, I don't know, like we're not even in that big of an area, so it's like even buildings for us are not. We can't even credit big buildings living here because there's just not that many big buildings here.
Yeah,
like,
we got to go to like downtown Salt Lake to experience that.
But even those
those
are tiny compared to like New York or Chicago or some of these places.
I will say the one time I went to New York, holy shit, that's a big building.
Yeah,
that was me the whole time, just looking up and everything. And so that's where I just wanted to ask you. This is kind of a twofold question. What is the biggest building you've been in, like tallest? But then also at the same time, what is the biggest room that you've been in? Like I know you like the auditorium at our high school, that's small in comparison to like what they're describing.
Yeah, there's
here.
the old train station. Had a Christmas party at that.
Union Pacific.
Yeah, whatever that is downtown. That was a pretty big room, but probably not the biggest. I mean, I've been to like convention halls would probably take the cake. Salt Palace, the two Summer celebrations. I've been to a few others where it's like the conference halls, but they've removed all of those accordion doors, so it's literally the entire fucking thing. I mean, outside of stadiums, I guess.
You've never been to the Comic-Con we have here, right?
No, but I've been to the Salt Palace though.
Yeah.
So, and I guess sports stadiums. If it depends on if you count that, because sports stadiums are going to probably take the cake for above all of that.
Not necessarily, because I know that you're probably talking about Lambeau Field up in Green Bay, but that's open air. I'm talking
a Delta Center.
I'm more talking like we're talking like you mentioned cathedrals. That's what got me thinking. What is the biggest like indoor room type?
That's what I'm saying. Like the Delta Center, that's largely one room, right? Or the East Center, like those are
arena.
I mean, there's outside areas to it, but the main part there, like that's probably the biggest thing I've ever been in terms of like that size and scale. But,
the one that came to my mind when we were talking
or
about
conference
this here,
halls, which I think Baraki mentions as well. Like conference halls, I don't think people understand just how big they are, because a lot of people that get into conference halls, they only have part of it, and they have like the accordion things dividing it up into 3 or 4 different things. But it's like, have you ever been in one when they take them all down and it's just one? It's like you could fit 10,000 people in. Seated.
The one out here in Sandy that they do the gun shows at.
Yeah.
That one I've been to where they've had the whole thing open, and it's massive. It's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's like, if I remember right, looking it
they
up,
do like the
afterwards,
auto
it's
expos there and stuff. So
Yeah.
you fill it with like RVs and cars and stuff and
boats and stuff like that in there. Yeah, like
so
the outdoor expos and stuff.
So that's probably the biggest that most people I would expect, unless we have a lot of listeners in Europe and stuff. Like maybe there's people who have actually been to some of those like insane cathedrals in like Europe and stuff.
The one that also pops into my head for me is the state capitol here, where it has like that does have like the high ceilings, like 40, 50 feet high ceilings in certain parts, and then like the archways and stuff like that. So like that's what comes to my mind as well with like stuff like this.
Yeah.
Versus like very obviously like industrial looking like warehouse almost for like the conference centers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like that kind of building, is there anything like that for you, like that you can think of that you've been to, even like down in like Mexico or anything?
I mean, we went to some churches, but nothing that's like massive scale. Like there's been some pretty
massive.
beautiful things. No. And then tallest building would definitely be the Stratosphere in Vegas. It's probably the biggest building I've ever been in. Highest, like tallest. I don't think I've been anything taller than that, because I've never been back east to like Chicago, New York,
Chicago,
none of those.
Philly, none of those.
None of those
ones.
big places that have like massive skyscrapers. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably the stratosphere.
Yeah, what is the tallest building here in Utah? Like, is it like 50, 60 stories? And then like New York has ones that are like 300.
Yeah, I don't know about 300, but certainly hundreds.
Isn't it that high?
Hundreds, for sure. Let's see here. Did you?
Oh, it's still me. That's my
Okay.
last note. So, above the throne was a massive medieval organ with 13 great cylinders, each pulsing a different color. But the one in the middle was the only one without color. It was black as midnight and still as death. Susanna shouted and asked if anyone was here. At the sound of her voice, the pipes flashed so bright that Jake had to shield his eyes. For a moment, the room was like an exploding rainbow. Then they all went dark, went dead, just like the ball in Roland's story. Then a humming sound as if an ancient servo mechanism was coming on one final time. It whined its way into their ears. Panels that were 6 feet tall by 2 feet wide slid open from the arm of the throne. The black slots were... Wait, this is your subchapter. Isn't this your subchapter?
I don't know. I think I've lost.
This doesn't
track
sound familiar. I think this is your subchapter. Yeah, I'm the odd subchapter. I'm reading this and I'm like, I don't remember typing this.
here. Well, it's also not easy because we also jump from one chapter to another, so it's not as
Yeah.
easy, just odd and even. Because there was actually an oddball chapter
Well,
there.
I
as
didn't
well.
have a subchapter in the previous one. I only started with this chapter.
No, but we
so-
started with subchapter
Yeah.
5, then so 5, 1, 2, 3, 5. So yeah. Yeah.
This is yours. I was reading your section. I'm sorry.
Stealing my shit. Next, I'm gonna have a Billy Bumper attack you.
Hey,
now.
you knock it off.
So the black slots were revealed, began letting a rose-colored smoke drift out of them. As it rose, it darkened to a bright red. It drew into shapes that was horribly familiar zigzag pattern. Jake recognized it before the words appeared. It was Blaine's route map. The words appeared for the stops: Ludd, Candleton, Rylea, the Falls of the Hounds, Dasherville, Topeka. Roland could say all he wanted about how things had changed, but Jake knew better. This might look like Oz, but this was really Blaine the Mono. They were back on board Blaine, and soon the riddling would begin all over again. Jake felt like screaming. And that's the end of the subchapter.
Yeah.
So, can you imagine if King actually had them wake up and still be on Blaine?
Good Lord.
And the story still would have been told, but it's like, can you imagine if it's just like, oh, guess what? You didn't actually solve Blaine. And then the ultimate villainous thing King could have done then is ended on a cliffhanger before Blaine gets solved again.
Oh, God.
People would have given up the series.
They're just like, we're done.
Yeah, and honestly, I might have too. And yeah, what a nightmare that would have been. Also, this is such an eerie scene overall. Just the setup of this entire thing is just creepy as hell. I think even we as readers went through enough of Blaine to understand, like, yeah, that was traumatic. So
Absolutely. And then that goes along with my note here. Poor Jake.
yeah,
Like, after everything,
because again, he's 12.
Yeah.
Like, this is a child. Like we gotta quit keeping him as an equal to the rest of these. Like he is a fucking child. Like there is
He's younger than my daughter is now.
There is a level of maturity he does not have. There is a level of life experiences he does not have. Yes, he's had a tough life. Yes, he's gone through some shit during the course of this story, but like he is still a fucking child.
Yeah.
So like we've got to keep that in mind because I think I forget that at times where it's just like
Yeah.
you just lump him in with the rest of them, and it's like
And it's also a child that's had his childhood ripped from him now. So it's like there's a difference there between even just a child and a child who's been damaged, if you want to put it that way. And I think that's a big part of it too, is that, like I was saying earlier, this is straight from his madness.
yeah,
Blaine, Charlie the Choo-Choo,
yeah,
and everything. And then after Blood, it's just like it keeps coming back. Like, when will it stop? Like, it's just constantly hammering on this kid.
Yeah. I have a note later on Jake that I don't want to pull because I don't think I have the entire thing in my brain, but I do have a note on him later.
Okay, so that puts us into subchapter 5. That's my subchapter. Eddie recognized the voice that boomed out of the route map hanging above the greenhouse, the green throne, but he believed it was Blaine the Mono no more than he believed it was the Wizard of Oz. Some wizard, perhaps. He thinks this wasn't the Emerald City and Blaine was dead as dog shit. Eddie had sent him home with a fucking rupture. Hello there, little trail hands. The smoke route map pulsed. Eddie didn't associate the voice with it, though. The voice was coming from the pipes. He glanced down at Jake and saw that he was paper white. Eddie knelt down next to him and said, "It's crap, kid." Jake stammered, No, it's Blaine, not dead." Eddie says, "He is dead, all right. This is nothing but an amplified version of the school announcements. Who's got detention and who's supposed to report to room 6 for speech therapy, you dig?" Jake looked at him with trembling lips and dazed eyes and asked, "What?" Eddie says, "Those pipes are speakers. Even a pipsqueak can sound big through a 12-speaker Dolby sound system." He asked Jake if he remembered the movie. They said it sounds big because it's he said it sounds big because it's a bum hug.
Yeah. Yeah, just reminding him of Wizard of Oz. Like,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's a guy behind the curtain, but there was, like, a sound system. There was, pyrotechnics and stuff, making it all seem much bigger and grander than it was.
Right.
So,
And then also Eddie taking charge here, not only talking to the voice, but comforting Jake, like being like, "Hey, calm down. We're good. Everything's
Yeah.
fine."
yeah.
And everything.
Yeah, but my note here, honestly, in our more modern times, I would say Jake is more right than Eddie here. Blaine is not the monorail. He was ultimately a massive computer system in Lud. So calling him dead feels like wishful thinking in our way of thinking. And honestly, I don't think King wrote it to be that way because I don't think he probably understood enough about computers in 1997 to like get the idea of like an interconnected. But it's like Blaine might not even be centered in Lud. There might be computer banks like that in multiple cities throughout fucking Midworld. It's like, so it's almost like
well, no, Blaine says that he transfers his consciousness to the train, and that's him. And he's like, "I'm going to kill myself." Because that was the whole thing, is like, well, your computers are back there. He's like, "No, I transferred
I guess
it."
I've dealt with too much
everything.
Marvel comics with Ultron, where you always think he's gone, but
Yeah.
there's always some, USB stick somewhere that still had a.
But this isn't Marvel though. This is Blaine and everything. And so like when King was like, Eddie killed him, and I think that's where part of it comes here with Eddie's confidence, is that he knows that he killed Blaine. He ended him. He's dead.
I'm just saying, Jake Spears might be,
Well, also Eddie points out the very obvious fact that the sound isn't coming from the route map like it did on Blaine. It's coming from the pipes.
Yeah.
And like he says, anyone can sound 100 feet tall when they use a fucking 12 organ sound system like that. So yeah, absolutely. And I get why Jake is terrified, because he does think that Blaine's back. But when you like take that step back and look at it, it's like, nah, he's dead. We know that he's dead. We saw his carcass. If he wasn't dead, he would have done something to us when we crashed, or he would have still crashed and killed us. And how did he get here? Like that kind of thing. So it's like, but to Jake, it's just, oh my God, it's Blaine. He's back. That kind of thing.
Yeah. And this is my note. Yeah, he had a lot of PTSD from Blaine. And the thing about Blaine is it was fucking him up before they ever found him. Back to his essay and the nightmares.
Yeah.
Blaine has been haunting Jake since the very first time we rejoined Jake in book 3.
Absolutely.
At the very beginning of book 3. Like pretty much we saw him a little bit in book 2, but ever since that point, Blaine has been haunting him, unknowing what that all meant.
Yeah.
But Blaine's been haunting him pretty much since we rejoined with him up in book 3. So
and he's even
this has
had,
been a
like,
long-term issue with Jake
Yeah.
here. So
he's even had like nightmares of like Oi standing on the tracks barking at Blaine and getting run down and stuff like that.
And I'm sorry. Yeah, back to his essay and the nightmares, because that's
You're right. Yeah,
exactly like you mentioned, the dream with Oi on the tracks and stuff. So he's basically been haunting Jake for a book and a half now, or almost 2 full books.
Right.
So, good stuff.
The voice asks what Eddie is telling Jake, one of his nasty-minded little jokes, one of your unfair riddles. Eddie says, yeah, this one goes, how many dipolar computers does it take to screw in a light bulb? Who are you, buddy? Because I know goddamn well you're not Blaine the Mono. The voice booms out, I am Oz. The glass columns flash, and so did the pipes. Oz the Great, Oz the Powerful. Who are you? Susanna rolled forward until her wheelchair was at the base of the steps leading to the giant throne. I'm Susanna Dean, the small and crippled, and I was raised to be polite but suffer no bullshit. We're here because we're supposed to be here. Why else did we get left the shoes? The voice asks what she wants. She says what everyone wants, to go home. Jake says you can't go home. Thomas Wolfe said that. Susanna tells him that was a lie. You can go home again. All you have to do is find the right rainbow and walk under it. We found it. The rest of it is just footwork. The giant voice asks if they would go back to New York. Is that what they're asking of Oz, the mighty and powerful? Susanna says New York isn't home anymore. She looked very small yet fearless as she sat there in her wheelchair at the foot of the enormous pulsing throne. No more than Gilead is home for Roland. Take us back to the path of the beam. That is where we want to go. because that is our way home. To the only home we got. And then just right here, pausing my notes is now Susanna has taken charge. Roland hasn't said a word or done anything since Oz spoke.
Yeah. Do you think that's on purpose though? Because he doesn't know this.
He always does this.
He doesn't
right?
know this story.
Yeah.
He's going to let these guys take the lead because, like, yes, they ran down the story overall to him, but even the fact that she called out to him when he was about to knock, because it says the bell doesn't ring or bell doesn't work, knock.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, that's from the story. So it's just like, does Roland just put himself in the back seat here? Because it's like, this isn't my expertise. Like, when we're going into Lud or we're doing, you know, whatever, like, that's my thing, but this is clearly not mine. So you guys are 100%. Driving. So
I fully believe that, because I think Roland was taught that. What's that idiom or advice where, like, if you don't know, keep your mouth shut kind of thing.
yeah.
Like, if you don't know what's going on, just shut up and listen.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's like business advice. Like, if you're in a meeting and you don't know what really is going on, just shut up and listen to everyone.
Yeah. No, 100%. I have a note about this part here, but I will save it for the spoiler section at the end.
Okay. So going on, the voice says to go away and come back tomorrow, and they will discuss the beam then. Eddie says, no, they will talk about it now. The voice says not to arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. The pipes flashed furiously with each word. Susanna was sure this was supposed to scare them, but she found it almost amusing instead. It was like watching a salesman demonstrate a child's toy. Hey, kids, when you talk, the pipes flash bright colors. Try and see. Susanna says, Sugar, you best listen now. What you don't want to do is arouse the wrath of folks with guns, especially when you be living in a glass house. The voice thunders, come back tomorrow.
Yeah. Curious if the others are scared. It says that she isn't, but the rest are sure seem to be to one extent or another. So
I think Eddie was nervous until he got in here, and then it seemed like it almost calmed him that someone's faking to be Blaine, because it's like, okay, he's trying to be something that he's not. And so it's just like, he seems pretty calm because he's calming Jake down. And then we don't know what's going on with Roland because the dude hasn't said a damn word, so it's Roland still.
yeah.
My note here, Susanna makes a damn good point. You know, don't piss off people with guns when you live in a glass house. Like, that's just common sense.
Yeah, and this is the part I said I was going to ask later on is, did the wizard say to come back tomorrow in the Wizard of Oz movie?
I have no idea.
I don't recall.
I have no clue.
That sounds like it might be a thing, but and the fact that you haven't watched it, because again, I thought with you having a kid, you would have watched this more recently.
No, I haven't. It's actually something that my wife and I talked about just recently. We need to start introducing our daughter to some of the classic films that we grew up with and stuff. And actually, we're using Memorial Day as a chance to let her pick one out. And I think she picked Men in Black. She's never seen it. It's like, it's a classic film. Like, we got to watch Men in Black, you know?
Yeah.
I think she'd get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Does good in that movie.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, and then in the chat, Brocky says yes, he did. When they brought the witch's broom back.
Well, they did. Okay.
And I think they come back tomorrow. Thing is in the book as well. David said so. Yeah.
Oh, so they leave, and then the witch attacks them. That's when that happens, and then they come back with the witch's broom. Oh, okay.
I have such a vague memory about like there's images that are certainly very striking to me.
The things I can tell you about the Wizard of Oz is that the tornado. She lands, the witch is dead, she gets the shoes, she goes to the Yellow Brick Road, meets the three, goes to Oz. I thought she got attacked before she got there, kills the witch, gets to Oz, finds out that Oz is a guy, goes home. Yeah. That's the Wizard of Oz according to Peter's memory.
Yeah. It might be one to rewatch at some point, but yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Going on, red smoke begins to boil out of the slots in the arms of the throne. It was thicker now. The shape that had been Blaine's route map melted apart and joined it. The smoke formed a face framed by long hair. Susanna thought wonderingly that it was Jonas, the man Roland shot in the desert. I know it is, she thinks. Now Oz spoke with a slightly trembling voice. Do you presume to threaten the great Oz? The lips of smoke face parted in a snarl of mingled menace and contempt. You ungrateful creatures, it yelled. Eddie, who knew smoke and mirrors when he saw them, looked around. His eyes widened and he grabbed Susanna's arm above the elbow. Look at Oi. The Billy Bumbler had no interest in smoke ghosts or Hollywood special effects. He had smelled something more interesting. Susanna, Jake, and him turned, pointing at Susanna turned. I missed a word here. Susanna tapped Jake and turned him, pointing at Oi. She saw his eyes widen with understanding a moment before Oi reached the small alcove in the left wall. It had been screened with a curtain of the same color as the wall to hide it. Oi stretched out his long neck, caught the fabric in his teeth, and yanked it back.
I will say, shame on all of them, because I at least remember that part.
I mean,
Like, I would have been looking for the fucking booth the second I walked into this room.
Where's this fucker hiding?
Yeah, exactly. So like, shame on all of them, and they're all way closer to that movie than I was.
Yeah.
In the '90s and
Yeah.
late '80s, early '90s. So, my notes here. I do think this is all going to be really cool looking, but again, from the Flanagan side of things, this is another licensing thing they're going to have to work out. At least if they do anything tied to the movie, I have to imagine the book might be in public domain at this point, but the movie would be wouldn't be for another few decades. So,
Yeah.
like, that's going to be another licensing nightmare for Flanagan unless they just embrace the book and don't actually go after the visuals of the movie, which I wonder how much those are the same. I wonder if Flanagan could just do, recreate what the book describes, and if it just so happens to look like the movie, then I don't know. I don't know how that works when it comes to clearances. So,
Yeah, they can't do it too close, right?
yeah, I don't know. But the question then becomes, though, is in that case, though, if they don't look at the movie and they look strictly at the book and they both create the same thing because they're coming out of the same book, is that copyright
I
infringement?
don't know.
So
Just I wanted to look it up. Warner Brothers owns the rights.
Yeah,
to
no, yeah.
1939's Wizard of Oz movie. So
yeah,
I was curious who owned it because I honestly would not have guessed that because Wicked's on Peacock. So NBC, not Max, which is
yeah, but
the home of
they
WB.
sometimes they do that intermingling thing
Yeah.
where they'll license a new movie to a different streaming service because now they're getting more money from it. Versus if they throw it on their own streaming service, they're not getting a dime from it, except unless they find out that someone signed up for the streaming service strictly for that movie. So
yeah.
yeah, and then Oi doing his best Toto impression. It seems that's my last note here.
Yeah.
Earlier, David said, haven't got to it yet, but it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Eddie realizes Blaine is dead, but immediately jumps to the assumption that Jonas is not dead. And then Brocky does mention, well, Eddie didn't see Jonas die; he just heard about it. But I would say, how old would Jonas be at this point?
How old is Roland?
I mean, I definitely am of the belief Roland is very, very old.
Yeah.
So Jonas was an old man when Roland was 14. So it's like, what would he look like, a raisin at this point if Jonas were still
I mean,
around?
that's the thing is that we don't really have like a thing because there's a line here later that Roland says to someone in this room about it being hundreds of years, centuries. So
Yeah.
Jonas may look old, but that doesn't mean that he's going to die anytime soon from old age. We got to remember, we don't know what the life expectancy is in this world.
Yeah. And then, so David says it's in the book, and then, David said, let's see. I think they, say come back tomorrow. They send him to basically kill the witch in the first time, and then get sent on a side quest to kill the Wicked Witch of the West before they have to go back to Oz, which that actually does sound familiar now that that's being said. That they get there, they're like, nope, you got to go do this. Then they go to the castle, and you have the whole showdown with the water being the end of it, and then they go back. So yeah, side quest is the perfect explanation there. So subchapter 6.
Yeah, real fast, David says Jonas would be Mr. Burns at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Excellent.
Yeah. But
Excellent.
yeah, we actually have a button for that. Behind the curtain, the red and green lights flashed. Cylinders spun inside the glass boxes. Needles moved back and forth inside the long rows of lighted dials, but Jake barely noticed. It was the man who took all of his attention. The man was sitting at the console with his back to them. His filthy hair was streaked with blood and dirt and hung to his shoulders. He was wearing a headset with the mic in front of his mouth. Because his back was to them, he did not know that Oi had sniffed him out and had uncovered his hiding place. Go, the voice said, or the voice thundered. Come back tomorrow if you'd like. Go now, I warn you. Eddie said that it was Jonas, and Roland must not have killed him after all, but Jake knew better. He recognized the voice, even distorted by the amplification of the pipes. How could he have mistaken it for Blaine's voice? The voice began to speak again, but was cut off by Oi barking, and the man turned. Jake remembered the Tick Tock man's voice, but when he was his prisoner, and here he was again.
Yeah.
So the end of the subchapter there. Really short subchapter. Another reference to Oz, of course, here with Oi. Discovering the man behind the curtain, essentially. But which I do think that's almost probably one of the more iconic things that came out of that movie.
Yeah.
Because like the man behind the curtain, I feel like is such a that's almost an idiom in the same sense of like let's touch base, or some of those ones that are so ingrained in culture
Yeah.
that I wonder if there's young people that don't even know that's a movie reference at this point.
Yeah, very
Like,
well could
the
be.
man behind the curtain type thing is such a normal saying in our world anymore. So and then Tick Tock, easy to forget that he survived after the
Yeah.
long rigmarole we've gone through in this book with the story and everything. So
We've had no inclination of it throughout this whole book.
no, not since Flagg saved
no
him
little
and
flash about them, like, okay, here's the plan or anything like
reminding
that.
us. Yeah, no, nothing. So we haven't seen him since the end of book 3 when he was saved.
Yeah. So if you're doing this scene, do you do the voice that sounds like Blaine or Jonas, or do you just do the actor who's Tick Tock amplified trying to cover it
You could do the Gandalf thing and change the voice.
a little bit?
Yeah, during the Gandalf the White.
not trying to rob you.
No. I'm talking about when he's Gandalf the White, and it actually sounds like Saruman for a bit.
Oh yeah,
Like they actually have Christopher Lee dubbing the voice, and then it like slowly
that
starts
part, yeah.
starts to phase over to like Ian McKellen's voice. You could do something like that if you want. I think that's what I
Okay.
would probably do, just to kind of like throw the audience off. Do that reedy high voice of
You let Jake. You do this at the end of an episode, right? It's like, what do you want? And the credits roll. It's like, fuck, you
Yeah.
know, like kind of thing. So it's like you sit there for a week thinking that, God damn it, who was that? You know,
Yeah.
like kind of thing.
yeah.
Like we all know Wizard of Oz, so who's the guy behind the curtain?
Now, here's something we might have to talk about on a round table.
Yeah.
But good old I just blanked on his name, Stu from Scream. That's having a whole revival
Matthew
right now.
Lillard.
Matthew Lillard is nigh on it back in or into the Manson family, the Flanagan family now.
Yeah.
Who's he going to be in the Dark Tower?
Ooh.
That is a.
Okay.
It wouldn't be Jonas, but I was just thinking with Jonas though. I really think he needs to go and take Mazzara's idea and get fucking what's his name to play Jonas.
Mickey Rourke?
No, Yondu. I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden from Guardians. Now Mickey Rourke stuck in my head. You've
Michael Roker.
Michael
I
Roker.
always do
Because
that.
I think he was.
I always do that with him.
I think he was a perfect casting there. So
Yeah.
Flanagan just needs to steal that idea and go on with it there.
Absolutely. So, Subchapter 7, Jake stared at him horrified. The coiled, dangerous creature who had lived beneath Lud with his mates Gasher, Hoots, Brandon, and Tilly was gone. It might have been the monster's ruined father or grandfather, even. His left eye that had been punctured by Oi's claw bulged white and misshapen, partly in its socket and partly on his cheek. Shout out Hayden, because that sounds yucky.
Oh yeah, I was about to say the scalping of the bullet that was described at the end of book 3.
It talks about it right here. The right side of his head looked half scalped, the skull showing through in a long triangular strip. That one.
But it talked about like what happened, right?
Yeah.
Because it said Roland would have recognized it, but whatever,
Yeah.
in normal circumstances, and like King kind of explains like why did he not die? It's
Exactly.
like it essentially caught the skull and just went up
Just
and
like-
smoothed along
yeah.
the skull and basically scalped him.
Yep.
Which is a fun idea. We need to see that in a movie.
I think we might.
I hope so.
Jake had a distant panic memory of a flap of skin falling over the side of Tick Tock's face. Jake had been on edge of hysteria in the memory and was again now. Oi had also recognized the man who had tried to kill him and was barking hysterically, head down, teeth bared, and back bowed. Tick Tock stared at him with wide, stunned eyes.
Because that is the dish rag,
That is the moment of the twisting of Oi.
like a dish rag. Which I'm still saying, merchandising opportunity. Do an Oi dish rag.
Yeah.
If this Dark Tower series gets, or if it hits big, if it becomes like a Game of Thrones level thing. For one, there's going to be stuffed Ois everywhere.
Everywhere.
That's a licensing thing that's going to make Baby Yoda look paltry. So, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Oh, if it hit as big as like Game of Thrones, Oi would be a fucking sensation.
I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know, over Grogu.
Oh, I do. Let's see.
That would be a sight to see. He doesn't sound like he's in very good shape.
No.
So this is going to be one of those moments where Flanagan is going to go, ooh, yay, yucky stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. Maybe that's one of the deglovings is like you basically deglove the head.
Oh, a descalping?
Yeah, I mean, is it still a degloving?
It's just
Medically, I think that I mean, the normal parlance would be scalping, but it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think that's like
I think that
medically it would be a degloving.
I
like
think
the removing
medically it's scalping, isn't it? Because it's specifically to the head.
No, scalping is not a medical term,
Mm.
so I think it would be degloving of the scalp.
Degloving of the scalp.
I'm gonna just text that right now into the group.
Hold on. Go ahead. You got your
and just quote it. Just go in the podcast right now. Degloving of the scalp. All right. Let's see. And then Agamorphy says Tick Tock here always feels a little too left field of a reappearance. Let's see. And then Baraki says the cherry on top of the cake is the entire left field scene / fever dream. Yeah, this whole scene is pretty crazy. So Flanagan could make quite a grisly image out of this guy, that's for sure, which, yeah, you kind of alluded to as well. Like, it's just, Flanagan's he's going to have a lot of fun here. And then, man, King, leave Jake alone. He's been through enough.
Yeah, right.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, leave this kid alone.
My God.
Jesus Christ.
My last note here before we go on. Good boy, Oi. Ready to defend his masters and his friends.
And not get dish-ragged again.
No, not going to happen. A voice from behind them said not to pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Then the voice tittered that he is having another in a long series of bad days. Poor boy. He supposed it was wrong to bring him out of blood, but he looked so lost, and the owner of the voice tittered again. Jake swung around and saw a man sitting in the middle of the giant throne. His legs were casually crossed in front of him. He was wearing jeans, a dark jacket that belted at the waist, and old run-down cowboy boots. On his jacket was a button that showed a pig's head, with a bullet hole between its eyes. In his lap was a drawstring bag. He rose standing on the seat of the throne, and his smile dropped away from his face, like loose skin. His eyes blazed, and he screamed, "Get them, Andrew! Get them! Kill them! Every sister fucking one of them! My life for you," the man in the alcove screamed. Then Jake saw the machine gun propped in the corner as Tick Tock sprang for it, snatched it up, yelling again, "My life for you!"
Tittering, jeans, cowboy boots, Flagg, our lives for him.
No.
And a drawstring bag, that seems very familiar to us here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like, with the giant throne and everything like that, Tick Tock behind the curtain, very grisly and everything. The ka-tet there. This is just going to be amazing to see.
Yeah. And also, I didn't have a note for this, but this is very stand Flagg, because he was wearing like a hassock and stuff in the first book, but we're talking jean jacket, cowboy boots.
It doesn't say jean jacket. It says a jacket belted at the waist.
No, or wearing jeans.
A dark jacket that belted at the waist. I took that
but
word for word.
He's wearing jeans. He's wearing cowboy
jeans.
Boots. Like this.
I think it's an interesting call that it's a different jacket. It's not the jean jacket.
This is the stand.
Yeah.
This is 100%. He's not wearing like the priest robe.
The fact that they call out run-down cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Like specifically run-down cowboy boots. I'm like, yeah. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Eddie and Susanna drew in unison, each raising one of Roland's big guns. They fired in concert, not even the smallest overlap in the sound of their shots. That's going to be awesome to hear. One tore off the top of Tick Tock's miserable head, buried itself in the equipment, and created a loud but merciful brief snarl of feedback. The other took him in the throat. Off my throat. He staggered forward 2 steps, and Oi fell back from him, snarling. And on the 3rd step, he raised his arms toward Jake, and the boy could read Ticky's hatred in his remaining green eye. He could almost hear the man's last hateful thought, "Oh, you fucking little squint." And then Tick Tock collapsed forward as he collapsed in the cradle of grays, and this time he would rise no more. My note here, good, he deserved to die, fucker.
Yeah, you know what Flanagan should do? 1 shot, 2 shot, just fucking hollowed eyes in the head, just all the way through the head.
The Boondock Saints treatment where it's got shot in the back of the head and the exit wounds are the eyes, but this time it's going the other way.
Yeah, indeed. No bullet scalping from Roland's guns, because it was a smaller gun is one of the reasons that King mentioned
it was the machine gun.
It was a smaller caliber gun, so the small bullet or whatever, yeah. Also, I remember thinking that saving Tick Tock would be meaningful or trouble for our Tet, but instead he's just prolonged his life for an overall meaningless cameo.
Basically.
So, yeah.
Just to scare the shit out of Jake one more time. God damn it, King, leave this kid alone.
Pretty much. That's pretty much it. It's not a concern at all.
No.
Barely an inconvenience.
That just reminds me of a YouTube channel that I watch. Actually, it's no trouble at all. Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, RF in the stand uniform. Brock says, what if RF is played by Christopher Walken? The Walken dude played by Walken dude. Oh, and King actually calls out Walken as a choice in the opening of the stand.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously 30 years ago, so that's probably not the pick now, but
yeah. Thus fell Lord Perth, and the earth did shake with death thunder, said the man on the throne. Jake thought, this is no man. Smart kid. No man at all. We have found the wizard at last, I think, and I'm pretty sure I know what is in his bag. Marten, Roland said. He held out his left hand, the one that was still whole. Marten Broadcloak, after all these years, after all these centuries. Want this, Roland? Eddie asked as he put the gun he had used to kill Tick Tock man in Roland's hand. A tendril of blue smoke was rising from the barrel. Roland looked at the revolver as if he had never seen it before. Then slowly lifted it and pointed it at the grinning, rosy-cheeked figure sitting cross-legged on the green palace's throne. Finally, Roland breathed, thumbing back the trigger. Finally in my sights. And that's the end of the subchapter. My note here, shoot him. End it.
Never.
Yes, do it.
Never. Plus, Roland tried to shoot him in book 1. It didn't work out so well. He emptied both his revolvers, and nary a scratch.
Yeah.
So, Flagg is eternal, sir. So chapter 8, subchapter 8, this is the end of the episode. This is where we're going to end it, is on this subchapter. So the man, Roland, the man told Roland his 6 shooters would do no good as well he knows. Not against him. Only misfires against him. He then asked how the family was and said he was a terrible correspondent, and that someone ought to horsewhip him. He threw back his head and laughed. Roland pulled the trigger and returned to only a dull click. Click? What do you mean click? The man said, Toadger. That's an interesting way to spell it out there. And said he must have got some wet slugs in there by accident. They were good at blocking out the noise of the thinny, but not good for shooting old wizards. He then commented on the diminished nature of Roland's hand and said the road's been hard on him. But it could get easier. They could all have a long, fruitful lives. That's the truth. All they had to do was give up their hopeless quest for the tower. No, Eddie said. No, said Eddie, Susanna, Jake, and Oi in turn. Which I do love that it's just like, yeah.
No.
I feel like it's got to be all in unison except for Oi. It's got to be a delay.
Yeah.
So, the man then asked Roland and raised a drawstring bag that looked very old and dusty, and it pulsed with pink light. He then said, "Cry off, and he'll never have to see what's inside. They'll never have to see what's inside this, and his friends would never have to see the last scene of that sad, long ago play." Roland said no and smiled broadly, and as his smile broadened, the man on the throne faltered. Roland said he can enchant his guns. Those that are of this world. The man said whatever he was thinking. He warned him not to. Roland finished not cross Oz, the great and powerful. But he thinks he will. Marten or Merlin or whatever he calls himself now. And then I got a direct quote from the book. Flagg, actually, the man on the throne said, and we've met before. He smiled. Instead of broadening his face as smiles usually did, it contracted Flagg's features into a narrow, spiteful grimace. In the wreck of Gilead, you and your surviving pals, that laughing donkey Cuthbert Allgood made one of your party. I remember. And DeCurry, the fellow with the birthmark, and another, were on your way west to seek the tower. Or in the parlance of Jake's world, you're off to see the wizard. And I know you saw me, but I doubt you knew until now that I saw you as well. So my boy, Randall Flagg. Let's go ahead and get him a... There's no booing, sir.
Oh, there is booing.
And then misfire, just like in the Golgotha in book 1.
Yeah,
so,
I love the...
I think the guns fired actually in book 1, but it doesn't affect him, essentially. So
I love that Flagg doesn't make the good bullets in the revolver just not work, but somehow he has swapped it out for wet slugs that Roland was still carrying around. Like, he specifically calls it as like, I don't know how it happened, but you got some wet slugs there in that revolver, Roland.
So I didn't take it that way. I just took it that he's kind of making fun of him and also showing that he knows his journey. It's like, I know at some point you got wet, because I don't think those are wet slugs. I think it was just he's able to like inert the gun.
It could be, but I love the idea that that's what he does.
He's able to
fuck
swap
with
it.
him. Yeah, because otherwise they're still good shells, and maybe if they pull again. But if you swap it to the wet shells, that gun is useless now. They would have to reload the entire thing in order to do it.
Yeah.
And Roland even talked about it, I think, in Drawing of the Three, that if you fire it with a wet slug, you have to break the machine down, clean it, reassemble it.
Yeah.
Break it down, clean it, reassemble it. So it's just like, if Flagg is able to do that, which I don't doubt that he could somehow with his magic.
Yeah.
That's just a total way to fuck with Roland.
No, that's true. Also, some details about the fall of Gilead, and
Yeah.
no surprise, Flagg was there. Also, I would say, as I was reading this, doing the prep on this, I would say I could maybe point to this as another evidence that Flagg and Farson are the same person. Because why would he point that out? Like that he was there at the fall of Gilead.
But you didn't realize that it was me.
Yeah. So
Maybe because he looked like Farson.
yeah. So I mean, I'm convinced on that because of stuff later in the story, and
Yeah.
King in the intro of some of the books said sometimes his name is Flagg. Like so, to me, there's no argument to be made. I know people cling to that idea that it's not, but it's like
Largely using the comic books as evidence.
yeah. So Roland said he would again unless he killed him now and ended his interference. With his one hand still holding the gun out, the other reached for the Ruger in his waistband. Maybe it would not be enchanted as it was. It would not be enchanted like the ones from this world. He was fast, blindingly fast. The man on the throne shrieked and cringed back. The bag fell out of his lap, and the glass ball, once held by Rhea, Jonas, and Roland himself, slipped out of its mouth. The green smoke this time came from the slots on the arms of the throne. It rose and obscured the man. Even with the smoke, Roland might have still got the shot on the man, but the gun slid in the grip of his diminished hand and caught slightly on his belt buckle. It only slowed him a quarter of a second, but it was all the man needed. Roland shot 3 rounds into the smoke and ran forward, totally ignoring the shouts of the others. He waved the smoke away with his hands. The shot shattered the back of the throne, but Flagg was gone. Roland already began to wonder if he had ever been there or not. So, thank God, Flagg is safe. And I'm actually surprised they've not made some sort of holster for this gun. It just in his waistband. That's not the gunslinger way. Like,
no, you're right. I never thought about this before, but everyone carries it that way. Like Eddie talks about tucking it into his belt. I think Jake puts it in his knapsack at one point.
Yeah, he puts it in his bag. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I've always found it fascinating that Roland is carrying the Ruger and not one of his revolvers here, though. Like I think this is
the
one
Deans
of the,
both have the two guns.
This is one of the only times I've ever seen Roland without his guns, except when it's on purpose. Because like when he's going mad, he's like, "Yeah, you need to fucking take this, and here's my knife and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
But this one, it's interesting because it's like, at what point can you picture Roland being like, you know what? I think I'm going to carry that gun that Jake brought instead of my revolver.
Yeah.
It's just like
the revolvers of my father.
See, now what I would like is if Flanagan to fix this. It's not really that big of a deal, but what I would like him to fix is that Susanna and Eddie draw on Tick Tock Man, and she has the Ruger here in the holster that he's built for her. Like a pilot wears on their chest.
Yeah.
Not under the arm, but on her chest.
Yeah.
And so she shoots holsters. And he's standing next to her, and he reaches down with his right hand to draw it. And that's what causes the awkwardness and a little bit of slowdown is he's drawing from that holster to try and shoot. But instead, it's him having it in his belt. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Roland doesn't have his revolver. That's just weird.
I do think there's kind of a timeshare with the guns. I do think they kind of rotate a little bit because throughout the story we see different people with different guns.
Yeah.
Because we ultimately are short a gun.
Every
time a gun shows up, I'm always like, please fucking take it so we have one for everyone. Come
Right.
on. Jesus Christ.
Agamorphy says Randall Flagg must have read Drawing of the Three, talking about Roland and his wet slugs. Baraki has a solution. Watched it in the Grapefruit.
Or as a crow up on the beach.
Could have
just
been.
high enough from the lobstrosities where he's safe.
Unfortunately.
So the ball was still there, however, unharmed, glowing the same pink he remembered from all those years ago. It had rolled to the edge of the seat. If it had rolled another few inches, it would have plunged over the edge and shattered, but it had not. Roland picked it up, and it still felt good in his hand. He told it that it had led a charmed life. He thought that if he threw it on the ground, they would all drown in the tears that filled it, the tears of those of the lives it had ruined. Why not do it? Left whole, it might help them back on the beam, but he thought Tick Tock and Flagg were the barriers to them going back, and they were now beaten. And then I got a quote here, but you can't go yet, Gunslinger, not until you finish your story. Told the last scene. Whose voice was that? Van A's? No. Court's? No. Nor was it the voice of his father, who had once turned him naked out of the whore's bed. That was the hardest voice, the one that he'd often heard in his most troubled dreams, the one he wanted so to please and so seldom could. No, not that voice, not this time. This time he heard the voice of Ka like the wind. He had told him so much of the he had told so much of that awful 14th year, but he hadn't finished the tale. And that's the end of the quote. There was one more thing, a hidden thing. The question wasn't whether the 5 of them could make it back out of the beam. It was if they could do it as ka-tet. If they're going to do that, there could be nothing hidden. He would have to tell them about that last time he looked into the wizard's glass all those years ago. 3 nights past the welcome banquet. He had to tell them, but not just tell them. He knew better. He told them to come, and they drew around him closely. He could see they were already half hypnotized by the ball. So it still has its game.
Oh yeah.
Then I have a quote to finish out the subchapter here. And at the end of this subchapter, quote, "We are ka-tet," Roland said, holding the ball towards them. "We are one from many. I lost my true love at the beginning of this quest for the Dark Tower. Now look into this wretched thing, if you would, and see what I lost not long after. See it once for all, see it all well. All very well." They looked. The ball cupped in Roland's upraised hand began to pulse faster. It gathered them in and swept them away. Caught in whirled in the grip of the pink storm, they flew over the wizard's rainbow to Gilead that had been. So that's the end of the subchapter. I would also say maybe the whole stress about this story was the part that he hasn't told yet. That just barely hit me, where it's like, maybe that's what Roland is more stressed about. And he's actually
still stressed when he finished the part about Susan.
And he's actually cheated a little bit by the fact that he hasn't actually got to the worst part.
Yeah.
Maybe. That thought just barely hit me, where I was just like, maybe that was the stress. So I know that most things always talk about plantiers or seeing stones as being very fragile, but honestly, I'm not sure if I've ever actually seen one break. In my mind, they're pretty indestructible just because I've never actually seen one break. So I know they always are treated as fragile, but even in the fight at the end of Magus, it was dropped on grass and stuff, and it doesn't. So it's just nowhere in literature, and I'm not the biggest expert, I'm not the biggest fantasy fan, but I just have never seen a plantier drop and break. So
I can't think of a single one either.
So I don't see them as fragile as every single story tries to make them out to being. I just don't buy it. So and the voice of Ka, that's a new one. Usually it's Cord or Steven that we hear in Roland's head. I know he called out Van A as a potential choice, but I don't know if we've heard Van A in his head or not. So have we?
I think he one time
he alludes to him a lot.
Yeah, Van A, yeah.
But we've heard about Van A a lot, but have we heard Van A's voice in his head?
I don't think so.
So not that I remember. And then so a secret he held can destroy or fragment a ka-tet. We're still learning a lot about the rules here, but I think this is a new one about the idea of ka-tets.
I think you're right, but I also see a potential example of one from earlier in this with his story with Susan. Roland's secret about his relationship with Susan was tearing apart his ka-tet with Cuthbert and Alan. So you kind of have a foundation to lay that secrets kept between the ka-tet ruin it. So I think that maybe we already have a little bit of foundation that they can't have secrets from each other.
Yeah, it'll wreck it.
Yeah.
Also, Baraki, Peter's board says werewolves because we watched Silver Bullet yesterday for the Patreon hangout.
It is actually worse than that. Also.
Oh yeah.
I will get to that when we get to the spoiler section.
Okay. Let's see. And let's see. I know what he means by one for many, but there are 4 of them, so technically they're 1 from 8.
That's a math joke.
Oh man. And then 10 if you include the parents of Oi. Oh man. The ball is hypnotizing the rest of the Tet. Also interesting how little Roland fears it here. That's kind of interesting.
I think he has fear for something else far more right now.
But the fact that it was always treated in such a way during this story, so for Roland now to be so nonchalant about just picking it up and just being it's just strange because we've not seen it treated that way yet.
I wonder if it's because he doesn't think that it can do any more damage than what he's about to do using it. Because you know what's going to happen here. You've read it, but I think maybe that's why Roland's not afraid. Is that it can't be any worse than that, right?
Maybe.
That would be my logic for explaining Roland, here. And then my last note here, they're off to Gilead. Yeah. The 4 of them are going into the ball and they're off to Gilead.
Yeah. And what a place to end the episode, too.
Right?
It all worked out so great here. So next time we'll come back and we'll be jumping into chapter, what is it, 5? Chapter 4. I'm sorry. Yeah, chapter 4 when we get back. But let's hit the spoiler section real quick and I'll hit my one note. Maybe.
Warning. Spoilers ahead. Warning. Spoilers ahead. Warning. Spoilers ahead.
All right, so now if you've not finished the series, cry off now because I got one spoiler note. So,
Yeah.
quote, New York isn't home for us anymore. Susanna, so going back to your subchapter there.
Yeah.
Of all of the discussions we've had about Susanna's motivations regarding her choice at the end, the fact she's never really been addicted to the tower, but it's more about the family and the ka-tet. This can be read as a contradiction to that point, and it's a read I've had that she was never a tower addicted.
Yeah.
She was always about the family for her. Some might point to this because this is one time that she's now saying the home is the beam.
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of an interesting thing. Though I would argue it's not really contradictory because we want to go our way home we got. So it's still, the family is.
She's still speaking for the group, not just for, it's the only home I got. It's where I want to go.
Yeah, no. So I would say that it doesn't really undercut my thing here, but it's very interesting that Susanna is the one that's saying that, like, home is the beam. Like, because I feel, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's for the, because we had a lot of discussion in the last couple years even about, like, Susanna's, choice and everything at the end. So it's just kind of an interesting twist on it. And for her to be the one that speaks up in that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, to my point though, the family, I think, is ultimately what her addiction is, or her loyalty is to this family.
Yeah.
And once that, family is fragmented, she's not.
I have a
anymore.
note written down somewhere about Susanna's motivations and stuff. And I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it on a round table when we didn't have something to talk about, or when we get to it in the book club, but we're about to hit it here soon in Wolves of the Call. So I'm going to call it out here, and then maybe we'll dive back into it when we actually read that part. Is that I have a little bit of a theory going with Susanna where everyone sees the rose when they go to Todash, except Susanna. Remember, they leave her by the fence and she never sees the rose.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's
Does
something.
she not have the addiction at all?
I wonder if there's something there where it's kind of to your point where, yeah, she doesn't have it before and she doesn't have it after. It's even less after because everything that happens with Mia and everything like that. I wonder if not seeing the rose made it so that she doesn't have
She
the
just doesn't
addiction.
have that addiction.
I think maybe
She
the
never
rose,
took the hit.
The rose, lack of a better word, planted something in the others that was already there for Roland when he went into the wizard glass.
Yeah.
That is now planted in Eddie, Jake. I don't know about Oi. I think Oi is just there for Jake.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
So I think she and he are the same.
Yeah.
I think Susanna and Oi are on the same page.
And the only reason
it's a loyalty to the people. And and the only reason Oi moves on from the grave is because he was given the command.
Right.
So.
And it was something I caught in one of my rereads, I think maybe a year or so, or 2 years ago, that it's just like, well, wait a minute. Did Susanna ever even see the rose? Because, like, when she gets there, she's like, I'm not going in.
Yeah.
And then she loses her legs because she doesn't go in. So it's almost like she's kind of punished for not going in. But then we find out later that the lower legs were Mia's, not hers. So it's like, maybe she couldn't go to the rose because maybe that would have fixed her Mia problem.
Yeah.
And so Mia kind of overrode her. But still, at the same time, it has to be questioned. The question I'm leaving there until we get to it, we can dissect it a little bit more. Does that play a part in Susanna's decision at the end? Is that
she's not addicted?
She's not addicted.
She never took that first puff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a good thought. All right, so yeah, that's it for this episode. On the closing side, if you want to subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting service of your choice, that'd be awesome. If you want to stream us, you can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, all those kind of fun places. Join us here on YouTube for the live streams at youtube.com/DarkTowerPalaver. Like everyone that's been involved in the chat this whole time, you can be part of the show real time. It's always fun. It's always a blast. Of course, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Otherwise, Tick Tock will show up and, be a ghoulish specter of gore in your room or something.
I can handle that.
I mean lightning teeth too.
No, you stop that.
And then show notes are over at darktowerpalaver.com and support the show at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. Again, tomorrow when all the episodes get uploaded, the Patreon people will get their us talking about Silver Bullet.
Yes. And
so
throwing it out there for anyone who hasn't checked out Patreon that has the ability to, our next hangout will be one half of it. Reading it like we did with the stand
doing
last
a
year.
two-parter on
So
it.
June and July is it. So if you want to hop on that bandwagon and start reading it, go along with us for the next Patreon hangout. Now's your time.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, and if you want to contact us,
send us an email, show@darktowerpalaver.com. Follow us on our social medias. We got threads and Instagram, Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. Our Blue Sky is at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. Our Twitter is at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. And then facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And merchandise is available at tpublic.com/user/darktowerpalaver.
Indeed. And we'll sign off.
Oh.
So
The other part, the last thing before we sign off, I said there was more to it than just watching Silver Bullet. I read Cycle of the Werewolf this morning.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I missed the notification for our document for the homework and everything like that. So I was just waiting there this morning like, fuck, Tad, send it over. Like, what are you waiting for? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, curious about the Cycle of the Werewolf, and I went online. It was like 70% off on Amazon right now for the Kindle version, so I'm like, I'll buy that. And
Yeah.
as I was reading it, I got to like November, because it is literally, they literally just go through the chapters. There's 12 chapters, January through December.
Yeah.
I got to November, and I'm like, okay, it's been a couple hours. You should have sent it by now. And I went and looked, and you're like partway through your first subchapter. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I missed the notification.
Yeah.
So
indeed.
yeah, I read Cycle of the Werewolf this morning. So yeah, I'm done with werewolves for a while.
Good stuff. Go watch The Howling tonight.
No.
All right. We'll sign off as we always do by saying long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
Oi.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you all for joining us. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. Love having you as part of the show here. And yeah, we'll be back in a fortnight for another roundtable. Be back in a bit talking about Mandalorian and Grogu on the other show.
Yeah.
For Geekery Abides, if you want to join us over there. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple
Rocky,
weeks.
get out of here with that snake. Knock
Yeah.
that off.
R.I.P. Ermont.
I'm putting him in timeout.
Good night, sweet prince.
No.
See you guys.
No.